time they met.
Opportunity for Roberts, straight up the centre, try! Well, Jamie Roberts has scored a remarkable try for the British and Irish Lions. This has become a rout.
The Wallabies fell short.
The ball is stuck in the middle of the ruck. The referee is across there, says the ball isn't going to come out full time. And the Lions have defeated the Wallabies.
But now, it's a new era.
They're blades of grass away under the black dot. Now to the left, and Hunter High, Sami Dunkley.
Gives the pass away to Valentini. Charges for the line, try!
Away down the right. They're not going to run him down. He's the quickest man on the field.
Can they turn heartbreak into history and claim their revenge?
Up to the 22, and all the way.
This is unbelievable.
This is the Wallabies versus the British and Irish Lions.
5 metres out, 4 metres out, 3 out, 2 out, 1 out. Try time once again.
Test match rugby on ABC Sport, on your radio, on digital and the ABC Listener.
Rugby's greatest tour is about to hit overdrive. The Sea of Red is making its way inside the cauldron in Brisbane. The first test of the British and Irish Lions Tour of Australia 2025 is but a half an hour away. A pleasure to have your company on ABC Sport. My name is Quentin Hull. It's 12 years in the making. It's a tour that, across all sport, this is not just about rugby. This is a throwback to what it was like when countries would go abroad, take big groups of sportsmen and women and play against the locals as well as the national team. It just survives. And now it's more of a corporate and tourist caravan. But still, we have the provincial games, we have the tour games, and we have 3 test matches to work out whether or not Australia can stand up to the might of England, Ireland, Scotland, and, nominally, Wales. Phil Mooney alongside me, a man who's travelled the world, coaching in Australia here as, of course, a man in charge of the Reds, coached in Japan and New Zealand. You've been around the world. You were but a wee child when you saw your first sights of the Lions red with your rugby-loving family. Phil, we've spent plenty of nights in this house. What a pleasure it is to be alongside you for the first test of Australia versus the British and Irish Lions 2025. How are you?
Yeah, great to be here, Q. As you say, this has been such a big build-up. The British and Irish Lions, I first saw them play in 1971 when they were on their way to New Zealand. I was a young boy and Queensland beat them. Then 1989, we saw the Battle of Ballymore. 2001, the Epic Series. When they were last here in 2013, I was in Japan, so I watched it from afar. And, the atmosphere of that first test in Brisbane 12 years ago was immense, and tonight is going to match it, absolutely.
Zane Bodak is going to be down on the touchline. We'll get to him in just a moment. But if you've been with us through the tour games, it's been an absolute delight to have Lauren Jenkins impart her knowledge and flair into the broadcast and to ensure that there's some Welsh connection. I know it's a sore point, but Lauren, thanks for coming up to the box for a couple of minutes before what's a busy night for you. We're finally here.
Thanks for having me throughout the tour, guys. Yes, the day has finally arrived. And one thing I will say is that the Welsh have travelled in their droves, despite there not being a Welshman on the pitch, as we know, since 1896, despite there being only 2 named originally. There are so many in the stands today, so many in Brisbane throughout the day. The city's been transformed. I was here 2.5 weeks ago, and I did have, a few people ask where the Lions from, what are the Lions. There's no one, there is not a soul in Brisbane today who is not aware of this team. It's been brilliant, and a real splatter of goal too.
So from a rugby perspective, the local narrative is pretty easy. This is an Australian team which is basically trying to work its way back into the national psyche after the disastrous World Cup campaign under Eddie Jones. Joe Schmidt has come in. There's been some very good and very bad rugby. Floggings in Argentina, dramatic victories on the spring tour, the Jorgensen try at Twickenham at the top of that list. So we don't really know what Australia's going to present tonight. What I will ask Lauren before she ducks off, this is a Lions team which comes here with a lot of expectation and a record which isn't very good apart from in this part of the world. The 2013 tour is the last time that the Lions won the Test series. They did have a drawn series among that cycle going to New Zealand and South Africa. So how important is it from a rugby perspective for the Lions to stand up in the next 3 weeks?
Yeah, there's a slightly different vibe about this tour to the only other Lions tour I've been on was New Zealand in 2017, where we all knew it was an almighty task to win. Being around fans today, I think they are confident, if slightly wary. They're confident, but not overconfident, is how I think I'd sum it up. But that's because, the Lions, as you mentioned, have won 74% of tests in Australia. They've never lost in Brisbane, 8 out of 8. And they're facing a team who are lower ranked than past Australian teams. That said, bar Adelaide, we haven't really seen this team click, gel the way we'd like to. Even against the Brumbies, they got over the line, but that was versus a team who are missing 8 of their regular starters. There is a lot more experience, isn't there? When you look at the starting 15s of both sides, you've got Furlong starting his 7th consecutive test for the Lions, Itoje his 5th, Curry his 4th, part of the reason we know he's been favoured over Jack Morgan in the back row, and Conan starts his 4th too. And all week Andy Farrell has been talking about big match temperament. That's a phrase he's used. Test match animals. He's gone back to the players who have been and done that before. So if they don't do it tonight, there's a heck of a lot of pressure on their shoulders.
Yeah, 14 of the 23 for the visitors are playing their first test for the Lions. But as you mentioned, there's a couple certainly up front that are very experienced. And Lauren, we have to spend a moment, I think, on your captain, because with his 93 test matches for his country and the 6 previous test matches for the Lions, add 1 tonight, that's 100 up. What a scene for Maro Itoje to play his 100th test as captain of the British and Irish Lions.
Yeah, the first name on the team sheet from the day he was named captain, and deserves to be there, probably alongside Finn Russell. Those were your two truest starters. We were talking this week about his aura being, well, we were actually saying equivalent to someone like Joseph Swali, but he's probably far above that, given everything he's achieved for his country and for the Lions, and he's playing his best rugby at the minute. Alongside Joe McCarthy, which is interesting. Not many would have had him as his lock partner pre this tour. But yeah, a leader very much on and off the pitch, Maro.
And as you leave us, we've spoken about the concerns for Australia, and there are a lot. What's the one concern for the Lions team on paper?
We are seeing combinations today that haven't actually played together. We haven't, for example, seen this back row together, and I think many would have gone with a different midfield partnership pre-tour. The concern for the Lions is living up to expectation. There's a lot of expectation on their shoulders. We've heard the mutterings of the 3-0, we want a whitewash, and I make no bounds about it. That is internally what they're talking about. Andy Farrell has come here to put a marker down, create a statement, and in some ways selection perhaps reflects the way he hasn't stuck to the traditional values, principles always of the Lions. He's going on past reputation and ability, not necessarily on the form he's seen on this tour, so it has to pay off.
Lauren, it's great to see you. Thank you for coming up. We'll hear your voice throughout the rest of the series. Your colleague, the BBC rugby correspondent Chris Jones, is going to join us as well in just a moment. It's Quentin Hull and Phil Mooney up in the box getting ready for the Wallabies versus the Lions. If you are wondering where the league coverage is, you can get that via the Listen app. Earlier today, Canberra 40 over Parramatta 16, and Canterbury Bankstown with a late try defeating St George Illawarra by 20 points to 18. It's Manly versus the Melbourne Storm in that last game. And no score early on there. The two teams are still warming up below us. A man who's been a big part of the build into this series has got the pleasure of being on the touchline tonight. Zane Bojack, welcome to you. We've got a glorious night for footy in Brisbane. What's the scene like at ground level?
Well, Q, I'm absolutely pumped for this game. I am surrounded by red shirts. There's a smattering of gold. And the Scottish fans of this Lions Armada are loving the Proclaimers at the moment. Don't know whether Aussie Bob can turn it up right now.
You're taking me back to Hampden Park and the Glasgow Commonwealth Games in 2014, Zano.
Da. Come on, Q. You love this. Isn't it wonderful? Because they've driven and they've They've flown and they've gone more than 1,000 miles to get here, and they are enjoying every minute. It was a sea of red which went from South Bank here in Brisbane all the way along the William Jolly Bridge. It extended through to Caxton Street, and now they've made their way here to Lang Park. 52,000, 40,000 of which are wearing red shirts. So hopefully the Wallaby fans that are here tonight can see their team proudly put on a great performance. As you mentioned, the weather is perfect, Q. We had rain overnight, but today it's been absolutely glorious, 16 degrees. The surface looks pretty good here. The interesting thing for me is we have seen some bombs. They have been absolutely raining through the sky. Finn Russell and also Jamison Gibson Park, they have been absolutely flying them in the air. And I can tell you that Jake Gordon and Tommy Liner, they will be doing the same. There's going to be a lot of contested ball tonight, and watching these balls spiral, the Gilbert spiraling in the air, it's going to be a wonder to see some of these stars, including Joseph Suoli'i, his first chance to take on a Lions unit, see how they catch them amongst this magnificent atmosphere. Q-Man, this is an absolute pleasure to be here for a Lions test.
It indeed is, Zano. I hope you can enjoy it. You'll keep us up to date with everything down on the touchline. If you want to get in touch, by the way, you can on the SMS line. The number is 0467 920 222. Please send us your name and where you're listening to us. I reckon we'll have listeners all around the world tonight, such is the nature of a Lions test match. It doesn't happen very often, just 3 every 4 years. And for us in our part of the world, just 3 every 12 years. 0467 920 222. Phil, before we move on to our next topic, I just thought, let's have a look at this Australian team in the wake of their last gasp victory over Fiji in Newcastle, 21 points to 18. There's a bit of injury, which has led to 6 changes. What's at the top of your mind with Joe Schmidt's 23?
I guess, Q, when I look at the Wallaby side, young Tom Liner is going to be under a pretty big spotlight tonight. It's his 4th cap, but his first starting test. His father, the great Michael Liner, played against the Lions in 1989. Tom's been out injured. He had a really good season for the Queensland Reds, so he's played some good rugby this year, but this is up a couple of extra levels. He's a really brave defender. I think he's going to have a lot of big bodies coming down his channel. He's an exceptional goal kicker, and goal kicking in big test matches is always important, so he'll play a key role there. Nick Champion de Crepney, his test debut, coming in at number 6. He's 29 years old. He's late to Super Rugby, but he's played some good rugby over in Europe, in France. He's a big body, and he's going to have to be at his abrasive best tonight against a pretty formidable British and Irish Lions forward pack.
I know that we've spoken a lot about the need for experience. Why was James O'Connor brought into the squad if he's not being used tonight? I know Ben Donaldson has played that role quite a lot, so I'll go with that argument. Well, first up, there's a bit of consistency. We haven't seen James O'Connor play Test rugby for a while, but it's interesting that he was brought in, yet Liner starts and Donaldson stays on the bench.
Yeah, I think, as you say, Joe Schmidt's being loyal to the guys that he's had over the last couple of years, and James O'Connor has sort of morphed his role within a team. We saw it at the Crusaders more as a finisher, so I suspect that depending on how tonight goes, if it doesn't go to script for the Wallabies, James O'Connor, I would think, would come into the squad for the second test in that number 23 jersey. That said, a man of his experience, he would have had a massive role for the Wallabies this week in terms of the preparation.
And you look at that front row, it's very experienced. Alan Alatoa and James Slipper with more than 220 tests among them. So it seems that there's quite the experience at scrum time. I mean, Jeremy Williams, and well, he's new. He only made his debut in the Wales series in Sydney last year. Nick Frost has been around for a while, and then there's that familiar feel in this part of the world with McWright and Wilson around the back of the scrum. But you think of Liner, just the 4th test in his first start. Harry Potter, who made his debut against Scotland in the spring tour. He's only up to his 4th test. Joseph Suoli'i, 6th test. Max Jorgensen, 9th test. There's some wet behind the ears backs out there for the Wallabies.
Yeah, absolutely. Having said that, there's some exciting young talent there. I think, putting my green and gold glasses on here, the British and Irish Lions are spoilt for choice, and they've got so many options. And I think they've done a pretty good job, actually. I like the midfield, the 10, 12, 13, the Scotsman there. Where the Wallabies, if they are to create any opportunities, they've got to somehow try and create a little bit of unstructured rugby. So when you're under the pump and the structure goes out of the game, generally you revert to type. So I won't say with 4 countries, with 3 different approaches out there on the field, that is somehow Australia's got to find a way to put the British and Irish Lions under that pressure. That said, one of the great strengths of the Lions on tour so far has been how clinical they've been with their unstructured rugby.
Phil Mooney with you on ABC Sport. Quentin Hull alongside him, Zane Bojack down on the touchline. And the latest from the NRL game in Melbourne, it's Manly with the first 2 points there. Manly 2 leading the Storm 0 earlier. Canterbury Bankstown 20 over St George Illawarra 18. And Canberra defeating Parramatta 40 points to 16 early today. AFL Carlton taking on Melbourne tonight. And it's the Blues 3 straight, leading the Demons 2 straight. Call available on the Listen app on the red and blue button. Well, a man that's seen a lot of rugby in the Northern Hemisphere, and it's great that he can join us as well. The BBC's rugby correspondent, Chris Jones, is along to give us a little bit of a further look into the lead into this series. Chris, great to have you on board. Welcome.
It's great to be here, honestly. Like it brings me back to New Zealand 2017. You know, I didn't go on the COVID tour. Not many people travelled out for that one 4 years ago in South Africa. But you get caught up in the tour and with the press conferences and getting sort of all inside the job. And then suddenly you get here and you see the fans, gold, green, and loads of red. And you go, wow, what an awesome experience.
What did you pick up from Joe Schmidt's Wallabies when you saw them at the back end of last year in your part of the world?
So I think that was the tour that gave a lot of people confidence that this would be a really contested test series. Because there was the fear, especially after they took that drubbing in Argentina. You know, how could you go from losing by 60 points to suddenly beating the British and Irish Lions within a year? So we're so conditioned and accustomed, those of us who follow the Lions, to go, well, it's mission impossible. It's New Zealand as the world champions, 2017 double world champions, South Africa 2021 world champions, 2005 one of the great All Blacks teams of all time, 01 one of the best Wallabies teams, one of the best teams of all time, that 01 Wallabies, 09 South Africa world champions. So from about a year or two out, you were thinking, I really do need Australia to pick it up just to help sell the tour. And that autumn series, the performance against Ireland, the thrashing of Wales, but particularly that win at Twickenham, did make everyone think, okay, the Wallabies are onto something. The difficulty is it's been 7 months since they've played. They've had injuries, scruffy against Fiji, issues at 10, issues in the pack, and you go, oh, actually, are they kicking on from the autumn for us or the spring for you? Or are they back a couple of steps trying to start again? And it's perverse to think that it's the home side in Lions series that is undercooked, and it's the home side that needs more rugby, when usually it's all the things we say about the Lions. Oh, they've not played enough. They haven't been testing up. They've not played enough combinations. So it's a completely different feel to usual.
And I just look at your team, Chris, and outside of the captain, I mean, Finn Russell obviously is a standout as well, but is there a player that you can see when you knit these countries together? We're sort of trying to work out, well, who's going to be the alpha, who's going to be the star if the Lions are to indeed impress themselves in this tour.
So that's why I think this is a different type of Lions squad. Because if you go back a couple of tours, let's go 13, George North, in this very stadium, announces himself with a wonder try from 55 metres, you know, going around a few, giving the little finger wag to Will Genia. And that was like, wow, this guy's arrived. Had that a bit in 2017, a little bit in 2009 with some players. This Lions team is not star-studded. Its strength is in its way it's knitted together, the coaching, the way it's very Irish heavy, their connections, their sort of complex and very efficient phase rugby. But if you look at the wingers, James Lowe and Tommy Freeman, they're world class, but I don't think any of them are coming in from 50 metres like a George North, for example. So it's just a slightly different type of Lions team that fits into it being Irish heavy, with an Irish heavy coaching team and Irishmen all through the spine of the team.
What have you thought of Brisbane so far?
Loved it, yeah. Do you know what? When it got the Olympics, you thought, oh, it's your third city, right behind Melbourne and Sydney.
Yep.
You know, and I couldn't see a third city in the UK getting the Olympic Games, but what a sporting city this is. When you think of the Gabba, you think of the Suncorp, all the things that are going on. We were down in Felons.
Yep.
Beautiful spot
by the river.
Under the Story Bridge lit up red, and you think, oh, wouldn't mind being back here for the Olympic Games.
Yeah. Look, 2032 is getting ever closer. And, boy, there's some infrastructure that needs to be built between now and then. Chris, thanks for your time. Enjoy the test match.
Yeah, and you guys.
Thanks for popping in. Chris Jones, the BBC rugby correspondent. Quentin Harlan, Phil Mooney, along with Zane Bojack, building up to this test match between Australia and the British and Irish Lions. The stadium has gone to dark. Let's get back down to Zano on the touchline with these players being introduced, and the atmosphere builds by the moment, Zane.
Well, Q, there's no doubt. There's Joe McCarthy just gets announced. When the Lions players get announced, there are so many more in the crowd that are cheering than, of course, for the Wallabies players. But can I tell you something? I'm starstruck at the moment because the Lions players that haven't made the test squad are actually sitting beside me, including Henry Pollock, who I'm very, very excited to see. He's chewing gum and he's got his cap on backwards. I'd love to have that headband on and him out there in front of me, but it's pretty handy to have him sitting here beside me. I'm right next to the bench, so it is amazing atmosphere down here. I saw the Wallabies warming up. I was very interested to see how Nick Champion de Crepney, how he went. He looked focused. He looked like he's ready to give the performance of his life. Someone who had to go overseas to make his name, and now he comes back and he's a Wallaby debutant. And also I was very interested to see how the tight five looked. And as a unit, I think they're ready to put on a performance, Q. I know we've got some outstanding players for the British and Irish Lions, including the likes of Maro Itoja, also Genge and Ty Furlong, who's probably one of the most skillful props in the world. But I tell you what, age shall not weary James Slipper. Alan Alatoa, he's ready to rip heads tonight. And look, I think Nick Frost and Jeremy Williams can dominate the line out. I really believe that. I think there's a real chance the Wallabies could cause an upset. Even though they've lost 7 times in Brisbane, I think tonight we finally get the win for the green and gold.
Yeah, there's only been 2 Lions test matches at this venue. That was back in 2013, the famous Kurtley Beale slip, when the scores were 23-21, and it stayed that way with Beale unable to kick a penalty goal from about 48 metres out. And they played here in 1966 when the Lions won 31-0. So there's been a spread between the Brisbane Exhibition Ground, Ballymore, and also a couple of games at the Gabba, not only that famous 2001 game. So as much as this is seen as the best rectangular sports venue in the country and has been for a while, it's only the 3rd ever Lions test. And it's a venue, Phil, that the Wallabies enjoy playing at. They have lost their last 2 tests here, but there was a period between 2016 and 2022 where the Wallabies were unbeaten here. I wonder whether it counts for anything tonight.
Yeah, I think it does, Q. And as you say, the Wallabies love playing here because it's a purpose-built rugby field / rugby league field. It's a rectangle. The crowd is right on top of the field. The atmosphere is electric, and that brings out the best in the players.
So we'll see the 2 teams walk out in just a moment and then have the Australian national anthem, but a chance to just go through these teams. So for Australia, Tom Wright, who's been the established 15, once again starts at fullback. Max Jorgensen and Harry Potter are on the wings. Joseph Suali'i and Len Ikitau are in the centres. Suali'i at outside centre, Ikitau inside centre. Tom Liner wears the famous number 10. What a moment for him. 22 years of age, and you forget he spent basically the majority of his young years growing up in Europe and in England, having been a part of the Harlequins youth system. He moved back to Queensland in 2021 to try and get an opportunity with his rugby in the Reds, and that's proven very fruitful. Jake Gordon is the scrum half. Harry Wilson is captain and number 8 at the back of the scrum. Fazer McWright on the breakaway side, and Nick Champion de Crepney is the blindside flanker, as you mentioned, Phil, 29 years of age and on debut. Jeremy Williams and Nick Frost are the locks. Alan Alatoa and James Slipper, the starting props. Matt Fessler is the hooker. And the bench for the Australians is Billy Pollard, Angus Bell, Tom Robertson, Tom Hooper, Carlo Tizzano, Tate McDermott, Ben Donaldson and Andrew Kellaway. What are the strengths and weaknesses of the Wallaby 23, Phil?
Look, I think the Wallaby forward pack are going to be under a massive spotlight tonight. The set piece and the breakdown is critical. Matt Fessler, I suspect the Wallaby scrum will go well. Matt Fessler, his line-out throwing will be under a lot of pressure. There's some tall timber in red jerseys tonight, so they're going to put a lot of defensive pressure on the Wallabies. And as I say, I sort of feel like our midfield and our back 3 are pretty handy. we've just got to try and get them into the game.
So the Australians are currently 6th on the world rugby rankings. The combined might of the 4 nations that they're playing against. Ireland is ranked 3, England 5, Scotland 8, and Wales 12. And there are no Welshmen here. There are 11 Irish, 9 English, and 3 Scots in Andy Farrell's 23. The Irishman Hugo Keenan is at fullback. The wings are the Englishman Tommy Freeman and the Irishman James Lowe, Irish ex-Kiwi. And then they've gone with the Scottish combination at 13-12. Hugh Jones at outside centre and the former Melbourne boy, Sione Tuipulotu, at inside centre. His Scottish teammate Finn Russell is the fly half. Another ex-Kiwi in Jamison Gibson Park is the scrum half. Jack Conan of Ireland is at the back of the scrum. Tom Curry of England at breakaway. Tyke Byrne of Ireland on the blind side. Ireland's Joe McCarthy is in the locks with the English captain, Maro Itoje. And the pack is Ireland's Tyke Furlong with England's Ellis Genge as the props, and Ireland's Dan Sheehan is the hooker. And the bench is Ronan Kelleher and Andrew Porter, both of Ireland. Then the English 5 of Will Stewart, Ollie Chesham, Ben Earl, Alex Mitchell and Marcus Smith. And another ex-Kiwi who's now ringed in Irish green, Bundy Arkey, is the last man on the bench. Zano, down to you, because everyone is now anticipating the entry of these two teams, and the stadium has gone to black. There's green lasers being shot into the sky, there's flamethrowers, and there are phones which have been turned on with their spotlights to illuminate the cauldron.
It's an absolutely epic scene, Q. The lights in amongst the darkness is brilliant. Then we've got the green and gold lasers, and we had some mist go across the top. It was lasers that actually had the Lions insignia go through it. And I know the players that are near me, they were blown away by how beautiful the scene was. We've got a scene now where the two teams are together in the tunnel nearby to where I'm sitting, and they're about to walk out. Here they come. Harry Wilson leading out the green and gold. We've got the line being held by Maro Itoje. Here they come, Q, the two sides for tonight's contest.
Every 12 years, Australia gets to see the might, the passion, the power of Northern Hemisphere rugby. And a couple of years out from a World Cup. What a reminder of the global force of the 15-man game, Phil Mooney.
Yeah, absolutely, Zano. You just mentioned it then. Such a powerhouse rugby in Europe at the moment. If you're a British and Irish Lions supporter, you stay for 4 years to go on these tours. New Zealand, South Africa, and now back here in Australia. 12 years on rotation. So, you know, what an exciting time for rugby lovers from Europe, from obviously the British and Irish countries and obviously Australia. We've been looking forward to this for such a long time, Q, and what an atmosphere.
Predominantly red in the stands, and the Australian national anthem now, ahead of the opener to the Lions' first test against the Wallabies in 2025. With the Australian national anthem. and now wait for the fans in red to say, well, we don't have an official anthem, but we're going to make some noise. No anthem, but what will it be? A smattering of Ireland's call, Swing Low, Sweet Chariot. We'll hear them all throughout the next 3 weeks, Phil.
Yeah, absolutely. It's anyone that's had the privilege to have gone and watched Test rugby at those 4 great stadiums. You know, the anthems are such a great part of the match day experience, and you know, hopefully we're not hearing too much singing from them, because if we don't, that means the men in gold are obviously doing a very good job for Australia.
Harry Wilson directed his team to run to the Milton Road end when they had the kick-off a short time ago, or the point, should I say, and the Lions are going to kick off. Ben O'Keefe from New Zealand is the referee, and his countryman Richard Kelly is the television match official, as the Wallabies just huddled about 30 metres from the Caxton Street end, getting last instructions from Harry Wilson, who's wearing a red helmet tonight. Teammate from the Reds, Fraser McWright's got the white helmet, and you can see the blonde locks of Tom Liner among that group. The Aussies have actually got their surnames on the back of their playing jerseys as well. That's been a feature of the Lions as well during this series.
Yeah, I think it's a great initiative by both teams. Obviously, we get a lot of people watching these games that aren't traditional rugby supporters, so it's a great way to identify who the players from the respective teams are to the passive supporter.
Conditions are perfect. 12 years in the waiting. It's the business end of rugby's greatest tour. The Test series begins in Brisbane. Finn Russell with a short kick-off for the Lions, and it's taken by champion de Crepini on debut, and he safely brings it to ground. So a first possession to the Wallabies, slipper into the defence and hit solidly just outside the 22, and immediately the fans in red makes their voice heard. Suali'i doesn't let go at the breakdown, one man to the left, and an immediate penalty for the Lions, and this is a gift, 3 points for Finn Russell if he wants it.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Test match rugby, they'll look to take the kick here. The Wallabies looking, champion de Crepini initially did extremely well to secure the kick-off. Actually, it looks like Finn Russell might bang this in. No, he is kicking for goal. Yeah, champion de Crepini did well, but the British and Irish Lions, a great tackle, great first up hit on James Slipper, and then they were able to secure the turnover.
Yeah, Tyke Burns straight away in there, winning that penalty for the Lions, and the Lions fans not happy with Finn Russell lining up for penalty. Can I tell you guys, the bench, this just goes to show the spirit amongst this Lions squad. As the Lions kicked off, they started the Lions chant. They're the ones that got the Lions fans going here tonight.
Russell 30 metres out and slightly to the right of the uprights, kicking to the Caxton Street end. Opening phases of the Test match, and Russell adds the first 3 points. Kicks the penalty goal. Well, there wasn't much in that. Champion de Crepini took the kick-off. Slipper had one run, then he gave it to the left, and Suali'i absolutely swamped at the breakdown. Finn Russell in his 89th Test match, 87 for his native Scotland. This is his second for the Lions, having played one on that previous tour to South Africa 4 years ago. Australia kicks inside the 22, taken by Conan of the Tourists, and he goes to ground about 20 metres from that southern end. His countryman Gibson Park of Ireland there. Passes short side to the left, but no way through. About 15 in from touch on the western side. Slow ball out the back for Gibson Park. Kicks a box kick downfield. Pretty deep. It's looked at and caught by Right of Australia right on halfway. He beats the first tackler before being taken down by Sheehan and Itoje, about 43 metres from the Lions line. Gordon serves it one man infield to Ala Alatoa. No great gain though for the veteran. Gordon again to the left through Liner onto McWright to Wilson. Almost got through a hole. Nice tackle from Hugh Jones to bring him down. Now quick ball to the left. Liner gives it on to Ikitau. Tackled out in the left edge, about 40 out from the Lions line. One man infield for Frost. Goes to deck on the 40. Now pass back to the right. Through right, Alatoa to Liner. Potter, line burst, little pass to Suoli, he got tackled. His pass out the back is cleaned up by Fessler, and the Wallabies still have the ball. But just lost a little bit of momentum. 45 out from the Lions line, 3-0 the lead to the Tourists.
Okay, just a knock.
Slow ball at the breakdown for the Australians here. Gordon taking his time and sets up for the box kick, which will come down about 30 metres from the Lions line. Leapt at by James Lowe. Did he knock it on? Referee says no. Taken by Russell. He boots the Lions downfield. Taken on the bounce by Liner on Australia's 22. Kicks it back at the men in red. Taken by fullback Keenan. 30 from his own line. He's got space to run back at them and gets up to the halfway line before being stopped by the Wallabies. Make it a metre or two inside Lions territory. Gibson Park now to the left, and Genge runs into the defensive Liner and also McWright. Lions ball just inside their own half. Some good phase rugby early on here. Gibson Park setting for the box kick. Once again he puts it to the skies. Jorgensen had a look, couldn't really leap at that. The Aussies take it though. Booted downfield and kept in play. Not a very deep kick. It's going to be run back at them by Russell. Gets almost to halfway before kicking downfield. Looking for the 50-22, and it's fumbled over the touchline by Harry Potter. He got back there in time, Potter, but he couldn't keep it. Oh, and they try a short line out there, which was mishandled. Freeman tried to throw it to Gibson Park and he knocked it on, but the ref's going to let them go again, Phil.
Yeah, and Tommy Liner, a couple of really good touches in that first period of play where the Wallabies had possession. Not a great option or not a great kick there by Jake Gordon. His kick went centre field, and that just opened up both sides of the field, and Finn Russell so adept at kicking to space, and the Wallabies under real pressure again here.
The Wallabies have got to watch that quick throw in. Hugo Keenan, he is an absolute artist. He caught them out a couple of times, the Anzac 15 at the weekend in Adelaide.
Sheehan to throw in for the Lions, only 10 metres out, and it's taken by Byrne, and they keep it above the ground. Australia get in behind. No great momentum behind this maul as yet for the Lions, and Gibson Park is reaching for the ball. So he's going to use it to centre field. Given through the hands of Tui Pilotu. Now midfield, good run from Jones. Hugh Jones and Freeman involved as well. Taken down, only 15 out. Men to the left. Given on to Curry. Tom Curry tackled, 10 out. 10 in from the left, one man back infield for Furlong. Furlong tackled. Early questions for the Wallabies here. The Lions only 10 metres out. Already leading 3-0, but they don't let go of the breakdown penalty to Australia.
Yeah, Fraser McWright, excellent work there, and it was initially fantastic attack by the Lions. Hugh Jones was able to beat Joseph Sawali on an overs line, just bouncing on the pass to the outside, created space, and then a couple of good carries, and Fraser McWright, doing exceptionally well there over the ball to avert what was really good attack.
Lions 3, Wallabies 0, 6 minutes played. Quentin Hull, Phil Mooney and Zane Bojack bringing you the Lions tour of 2025 on ABC Sport as Liner kicks for and finds touch about a dozen inside Wallaby territory.
Come down, yep, come down.
Certainly at the southern end behind the goalposts. Basically it's all red shirts, and then at the northern end it's predominantly gold, but boy, there's a big patch of touring fans down that southern end. First line out from Fessler's good. Australia win the ball, except McWright's pass infield is loose and knocked on by Ikitau. So the set piece was okay, but the distribution thereafter, loose from the Australians, knock on. Lions will have the scrum 39 metres from the Wallabies line.
Yeah, and the Wallabies will be disappointed with that, and it was Fraser McWright who did so well to secure the penalty. Unfortunately, the timing was just out, and his pass didn't go to hand to Len Ikitau. The Australian jumpers did exceptionally well. Fraser McWright just double pumping and, as I say, just turning over possession there. And once again, great field position for the British and Irish Lions. It's the first scrum, centre field, 40 metres out.
Genge and Furlong, the props for the Lions. Ala Alatoa and Slipper for Australia. Gibson Park to feed this scrum. Slightly left of centre field. And about 40 metres out. Short arm penalty to the line. Gibson Park takes the kick and plays on. Gets the pass out towards Tui Pilotu, who's taken 30 metres out centre field. Now back to the middle of the park. Russell with a beautiful looping pass to Sheehan. over the 22 before being dragged down from behind by Gordon. Quick weak cycle for the Lions. Given to Genge. He stands and is trying to be wrestled to deck. The Australians get him down. 8 metres out just to the left of the uprights. Gibson Park, one man infield for Curry. Advantage with the Lions, Australia offside. Gibson Park back to the left. Low, just a little dance on and then loses the ball. No, it's picked up by Genge. Charging close to the line. Only half a metre out. Gibson Park pops it up. They keep it alive. Finn Russell now with a long pass to the right. Exquisite pass. Puts in Tui Pelotu. And the line is there straight up. An Australian is the first Lion to score in 2025 as the Scottish ancestry of Sione Tuipulotu ensure he has a memorable moment in red at Lang Park.
We see the wizardry there of Finn Russell, Q. It was a great vision. It was a 20-metre pass over 2 or 3 guys in red shirts to Sione Tuipulotu, who was able to dot down untouched. And when you're playing high-class opposition, like clearly the Wallabies are tonight, you have to limit mistakes. And already we've seen a handling error. We've seen a line-out play just not executed well. And the British Lions look in ominous form, 10-0 up already.
Russell with the conversion just to the right of the uprights. And it's 10-0 indeed. So interesting that Sione Tuipulotu, actually his second last game for the Rebels was here against the Reds when they got beaten that night. His grandmother was the reason why he qualifies for Scotland, but of course grew up in Melbourne and one of the few locally produced Melbourne Rebels players before they of course were cut from Super Rugby. Australia with the restart inside the 22. Caught by Gibson Park, he'll kick it back downfield. Kick out in the full available. Doesn't quite get out in the full. Taken by Wright, the Australian fullback, 5 inside his own half. Tom Wright runs infield and gets taken down. Recycle for the men in goal. Slow ball for Gordon. Gives it in tight to Ala Alatoa. No gain, 1 man infield for the big prop. 15 in from touch on the western side and 5 inside Wallaby territory. The Australians just trying to compose themselves here. Box kick at the end of that. Breakdown has let that and caught well. Really good jump from that Lions man there. I'll just get his number plate. Yeah, it was the fullback Keenan. He's got it now. The Lions 5 inside their own half. Recycle the ball. Gibson Park told to use it by referee O'Keefe. 10 inside his own half. Puts up a bomb in the midfield. Come down 15 Australian side of halfway. Tap backwards by Lowe. And the Lions get it back. Gibson's Park pass is a bit messy. Russell has a fumble, no knock on. Passes to the right for Keenan. He kicks for touch and finds it. And the Australians will have a line out 20 metres from their own line. Lions lead it 10 points to 0. Early on, 11 minutes played at Lang Park.
You know what, Phil? Even though there's a smattering of green and gold, or those that are here watching Finn Russell absolutely turn on his tricks here tonight. It's unbelievable. They bullet pass for Tuipulotu and just juggle, and then brilliant passes. They go for the line out, Q.
Messy, but tap back on the Australian side, and the Aussies take possession. Ball to ground on their 22. Out on the Hale Street side of the ground. Referee's having a really good look at this breakdown as Gordon now reaches in and uses his right boot to pump it over the touchline. Flag goes up. Where will the touchies stop? Lions line out 2 metres attacking side of halfway for the tourists.
Yeah, and already, Q, we've seen the Lions certainly done their homework. Tom Liner defending in the backfield. They put a couple of contestables up on him and sent James Lowe through, who's a way taller man, and Lowe's been able to knock it back to the Lions. Taken by Byrne. Used to midfield, and Conan runs into the defence just on halfway and a metre beyond for the Lions as he's tackled. Jack Conan of Ireland. Now Gibson Park quickly with another little midfield bomb. He's got chasers after it. Liner's there. He challenges Freeman. Ball comes free. What does the referee say? Play on. Sheehan kicks it into the in-goal area and it rolls dead, but it's going to come back, I think. It's a Lions scrum. The initial knock-on coming from the hands of Tom Liner. Yeah, and then more pressure for the Wallabies early on, Phil. This is irrepressible in the opening dozen minutes. Yeah, saw it again. Q, Jamison Gibson Park. He scanned, and this time Tom Liner was positioned in the middle of the field. So it was a little dink kick, not quite a really high one, but it gave his chaser enough time to come through and put pressure on Tom Liner.
And thankfully the TMO's overturned the decision. It will be a Wallabies feed.
Yeah, I saw that, Zano, so lucky there for the Aussies. Updated score in the NRL, by the way, getting close to half-time. Manly 16 lead Melbourne 6. Call available on the green button on the ABC Listen app. In the AFL, Carlton 4-2-26 lead Melbourne 3 straight 18 early second quarter. West Coast 1 straight 6. Richmond 1 straight 6. That game's just started. Here, Lions lead 10-0 and a short arm at scrum time for the Wallabies.
Yeah, and it's a really important period now for the Wallabies. They've exclusively played out of their own half, so it's a scrum penalty. Tom Liner can't kick it out, so he'll have to kick it to the Lions, and the Lions will get possession once again around halfway.
Just 5 metres inside halfway. It's caught by Freeman, the winger for the Lions. Now they use the ball to centre field. Tui Polatu passes out to Low on the left edge. He decides to kick downfield as the winger, and he's overcooked that. That left boot's going dead. And he was inside his own half.
Yeah,
that's a bad mistake from James Lowe.
It is, Q. That's a bit of a break there for the Wallabies. But once again, the Lions, when they get a kick receipt, they're looking to shift the ball to the middle of the field and then kicking for space, and they've done it very well to pin the Wallabies in their own territory and then put their set piece under pressure. On that occasion, James Lowe just overcooked his kick.
You're listening to the Lions Tour on ABC Sport. Quentin Hull and Phil Mooney in the box, Zane Bojack down on the touchline. If you want to get in touch, 0467 920 222 is the text message number. Make sure you send us your name and where you're listening to us on this gorgeous Saturday night in Brisbane.
Yeah, and we haven't had a completed scrum yet, Q, so hopefully we can here, and the Wallabies can get a bit of a platform to get their midfield into the game, just to try and address this momentum that is currently all with the men in red.
10-0 to the Lions, 15 minutes in. Scrum time for Australia. Meter, the attacking side of halfway for the Wallabies. Gordon has Jorgensen wrapping infield, gave him the pass, now gives to Liner. Liner with a tactical kick to the left wing, which is reached for and knocked on by the diving Irish fullback Hugo Keenan. And he's fumbled that over the touchline, so another set piece now for the Australians. Out on the left wing side, about 30 metres from the Lions line.
How good was that set play, Phil? That was brilliant.
Yeah, great variation. We had a couple of Wallaby runners come down the short side, Jake Gordon one of them, who then hit Max Jorgensen coming back to the open side just to try and create kicking space for Tom Liner, and Hugo Keenan initially read it really well, but just wasn't able to secure it as the ball dropped at his feet. And it's certainly going to be a key part of tonight's game, Q, the kicking and the ability to isolate people under the ball or find space. The British and Irish Lions have targeted Tom Liner in the backfield, and there was a great variation by the Wallabies to try and get some open field.
So perhaps the locals starting to settle. 16 minutes in, 10-0 to the British and Irish Lions. Australian scrum, 5 in from touch on the eastern side, 30 metres out. Gordon feeds it infield to Iki Tau. One-man run into Gibson Park and Curry. Good run. Curry eventually holds him up, only 22 out. Williams is in there reaching it for Australia. A pick and drive, no great gain for Williams. Now Gordon gives it to Wilson and the skipper. One man infield, but no gain. Put down on the 22. Now McWright has a go. Similarly, one man infield. Faze Rugby not really gaining much here for the Australians. Back to the blind side. Champion to Crep, and he gives it on to Iki Tau. Taken down by the defence and still outside the 22. Williams, one man back to the open side. Once again, Burns there for the Lions to make the tackle. Now through the hands, a little bit of a variation. Frost, midfield and 25 out, but the Aussies going nowhere with the ball in hand at the moment. Gordon once again reaches for it. Left side Liner gives it on to Wright. He on to Potter, who's put down. Gee, they're going left, they're going right, but they're not going forward here at the moment, the Australians. Frost, he's going to be tackled, and they're still 24 metres out. They've basically played rugby in a little 15-metre patch not far away from where that scrum was about 90 seconds ago. Right to the blind side, can't get through. As the fans make their voices heard at Lang Park. Alatawa can't get through. What are they trying to set up here, the Australians?
He wins the ball! He wins the ball!
Lost ball now. I think that's a mistake from Williams. And it comes out in Lions' hands and they boot it downfield. Long kick will go inside the 22. Taken by Liner of Australia.
Okay, Wallabies out.
Puts it to his right boot and finds touch out on the eastern side, so the Lions will get a line out. A couple of metres the attacking side of halfway. Gee, Phil, what was going on there with the Aussie phase rugby? Not getting anywhere.
Yeah, you called it perfectly, Q. The Wallabies are really compressed with their attack, and part of that is because of the pressure the Lions are putting on them defensively. So, as I say, if you can press your defence, the support players are a little closer to the contest at the breakdown, but unable to bend the line at the moment.
Lions win the line out into midfield. Conan takes it to deck. About 45 metres out centre park. Gibson Park to the left through Tui Pilotu. Out to the edge for Lowe. Lowe pushes away from one. Passes infield to Jones. And he scores. Almost the Wallaby defence was able to stop him. But the Lions double up. They've got 2 tries. They lead 15 points to 0.
Yeah, and great play by the Lions. It was Sione Tuipulotu again going to the line. He had his Scottish teammate outside in Hugh Jones and played out behind him to James Lowe, and James Lowe beat Max Jorgensen effortlessly with a fend, and then Jones on the inside was able to support and score. And you know, it's alarming at the moment, Q, how hard the Wallabies have had to work with the ball in hand and haven't been able to bend the line. And each time the Lions have had the ball, they've broken the Australian defence quite easily.
Well, they're just having a look with the TMO here, Richard Kelly. Hold on, this might not be a try. Zane Bojak down on the touchline. I must admit, I didn't see anything.
We have a grounding. What we want to consider in the lead-up is whether the player's been tackled. If he has been tackled, he must release the ball before he gets back onto his feet again.
Yeah, that's what I was concerned about. I think there was a hand on him when he actually got up and went again. So that's what they're looking at with Hugh Jones. Jorgensen around the legs. Has he let go? Oh, I think he's entitled. To get up and go again. What do you think, Phil?
Yeah, I think that's a try. Jorgensen initially worked hard to get back and make the tackle, but Jones just slipped.
So for me at the moment, the tackle is complete there. He never releases the ball. Does anyone see the actions of the goal player coming and diving on the player?
I think he misses the player. There is a minimal contact, which I don't think he dives over the player.
So Jorgensen with the tackle around the ankles. It was a couple of metres from the line. And Jones picked himself up and scored. There was a bit of release for a moment.
Okay, so Richard, 13 red. He's been tackled, he is held and then brought to ground.
He wasn't held.
For the try, he needs to release the ball, which he doesn't do.
Well, that is a lucky call for the Australians. That'll be no try.
But we're not penalising that. It's a penalty. Back on the 5, no try.
Do you reckon that's a rough one?
Yeah, I do. It's
very handy for Australia.
Yeah, it is. That would have been catastrophic if the Lions were awarded a try there. The way Finn Russell goal kicked 17-0. That's a long way back for the Wallabies. 10-0 is a long way at the moment. So, as I say, that's a tough call, I feel, on the Lions.
And just goes to show the attacking prowess that this Lions team has got. You know, Lowe just pushed off Jorgensen like he wasn't there. Lucky that Jorgensen came again. But Hugh Jones, we know how powerful he is. He's got 23 test tries for Scotland. I think he's been let down there by the TMO. I think he deserved his first try in the red of the Lions.
He's one of 14 out there for the British and Irish Lions playing their first test in the red of the Combined Nations tonight. I was about to say, well, it was one of the big talking points. Do they go Irish or Scottish in that part of the field? It would have been a great justification to the selection if you had Tui Pilotu and Jones scoring the first 2 tries.
Yeah, they've both been impressive, Q.
Aussies win the line out there on their own 22 and get a penalty.
Yeah, tackled in the air. Definitely tackled while he was still in the air.
This seems like a very crucial phase. Australia has been outpointed in the first quarter of this game, Phil Mooney. And, well, as you mentioned, they were staring down 17-0. Luckily, the TMO prevents the try. So it's 10-0, but hardly any... They haven't made really any impact with ball in hand at the moment, the Wallabies, as Liner finds touch. And Australia will have a line-out 5 inside their own half. It goes deep, champion to Crep, and he can't handle it. It's lost and taken by Byrne of the Lions. So a set-piece error from the Australians, and the British and Irish Lions have the ball. They get in behind and set it up for Gibson Park, a metre inside their own half. Gibson Park with a deepish box kick. Lapped at and knocked forward by Jorgensen. No, it's ricocheted out the back, cleaned up by Wright through the hands of Wilson to Ikitau and a spread to the left edge. Potter decides to kick downfield from outside his 22. It's a booming kick, which is almost too big in the end. It didn't, it took a turn and goes over the touchline in the in-goal area just. It flirted with the corner post.
Touch the lines, player. We're back.
And that's, in the end, a mistake from Harry Potter. It almost was a brilliant 50-22, but it went, a metre or two beyond the goal line field and touching goal. So the Lions will get a chance all the way back at the attacking end of the field. 10-0 to the British and Irish Lions, 22 minutes played.
Yeah, the margins are extremely small, Q, and as you say, it's one bounce to the left from being an extremely good kick by Harry Potter, a 50-22, but as it is now, the Wallabies come all the way back, halfway between the 10-metre and their defensive 22, and once again, the overthrow or the inability to secure their own line-out ball, and the Wallabies are under pressure. And if they are, as I said, to get back into this game, the Wallabies, they need to secure their own set-piece ball and, try and address that momentum issue that they're currently experiencing. Sorry, Zano.
Yeah, Fessler's struggling with his left foot. He's trying to, it actually might be his right ankle. He's trying to get some feeling in it. The trainers have been out there. I think it's a welcome relief for both teams. I know the trainers for the Lions were straight out there with water and they were in a bit of a huddle, just getting their breath back. It's been breakneck pace for both teams. But I will say this, with that kick downfield by Potter, I do think it was calmer because I think Jorgensen knocked on in the lead-up, which was play on.
Yeah, I called that, yeah.
Yeah, so I think that maybe the Lions have been justified here. They've been ripped off on a try cue. I think if that had gone against them as well, there'd be a few people thinking, hang on, what's going on out here?
You're listening to the Lions Tour on ABC Sport. He's Zane Bojak. I'm Quentin Hull. Phil Mooney alongside me. 10-0 to the Lions. Sione Tuipulotu, the try scorer for the Tourists. Just to really put an exclamation point to one of the lead-in stories, a man who grew up in Melbourne that has become the captain of Scotland. Now Gibson Park blindside off the scrum win. Gives it on to Freeman. A little chip in behind the line. That's chipped out on the full. Trying to work something on the short side there that didn't create much. Tommy Freeman, 24 years of age. He's a first-time tourist who's only played the 20 tests for England. So I think that he's got his sights on a few more trips in red. Australian line out now. On their own 22, Fessler with that issue. He throws in there well to Frost, given to Gordon, now to Liner for the clearing kick. Not a very deep kick downfield from Tom Liner. Comes down on halfway. Low fumbles it backwards. Cleans up his own mess. Got tackled by Jorgensen. Chucks it out the back. And the Australians pile in at the breakdown. But it stays on the red side. 10 inside Lions territory. One man infield for the skipper, Itoje. The captain of England. The captain of the Lions. His 100th test match tonight. 7th in the Lions red with 93 in the England white. And he loses the ball at the breakdown. Australia piled in. They've got the ball. Wilson shifts it left, through Gordon, onto Suoliti, his first real touch. Apart from that first carry where he conceded a penalty, he's taken about 35 metres out on the left. Australia in attack. One man infield for Williams, can't get through. Now to the right, Liner, gives it on to Frost, to Ikitau, little catch and give, is loose to the edge, cleaned up by McWright of Australia. Fraser McWright tackled. 15 in from touch. On the right wing side, still 42 metres out. Gordon with a little kick in behind the ruck. It's taken comfortably by Keenan. Hands it back to Russell. Russell boots it downfield, but straight to Liner. Australia, 15 their own side of halfway. Liner runs to halfway, kicks towards the 22. Very well gathered out there by Freeman, who kicks it back and kicks it out on the full. Now the chess pieces are starting to be manoeuvred a little bit. Phil Mooney. And Australia will get a line out 30 metres from the Lions line. British and Irish Lions 10, Australia 0, 25 minutes play.
Yeah, I certainly felt going into this game, and we spoke about a cue, that the aerial battle was going to be a big one, and it was possibly an area where the Wallabies could find a chink in the Lions' armour, and Tommy Freeman now on his wing, Hugo Keenan, it was the time before, just under a little bit of pressure, but now the Lions steal the Wallabies line out.
Yeah, Byrne with a beautiful pilfer of the Sheehan line out. The Fessler line out. Tui Pilotu with a run up to midfield before being ankle tapped by Liner. Ikitau's over the ball, but didn't keep his feet. Advantage with the Lions. Right on halfway. Passes to the right. Furlong, a sweeping ball out towards the edge. Given again, Chu runs up through the defence. He got through Fessler. Gordon's there to take him down, but lost it in the tackle. Luckily for the Australians, and almost a hint of a blow-up. Harry Potter holding arm's length there at Gibson Park for a moment. But not much happens after that. Okay, we're waiting for a scrum. Here's your first taste of what the Northern fans bring.
The push and shove too between Jeremy Williams and Tyke Byrne. It's on out there, Q. The Wallabies, they've lifted their intensity. That's their best passage of play so far, Q.
Here are the captains with the ref.
Understand it with the series, but we're going to keep playing rugby. That's stopping the game. That's your freebie. If it happens again, there'll be consequences. Do you understand? Talk to your players now. We've got a scrum. Advantage is over.
So Ben O'Keefe talking to Maro Itoje and Harry Wilson there. 26 minutes played. Lions lead the Wallabies 10-0.
Yeah, and that's good refereeing by Ben O'Keefe there. At the moment, there's a really big advantage in the contact to the British and Irish Lions. When they've had the ball, they've been able to win the collision, quite easily. And when the Wallabies have had the ball, they've been able to stop them dead in their tracks. So the 8 men in red at the moment are certainly, and a couple of line-out turnovers, the men in red from 1 to 8 are certainly dominating proceedings at the moment, Q.
Australian scrum, 10 in from touch on the eastern side. 15 inside Australian territory. The 32-year-old Jake Gordon doesn't have to feed the scrum. Well, he did, but the front rows go down, and it's a penalty to Australia. So that's good work there from Ala Alatoa and Slipper, the front row. 145th test for Slipper, 82 tests for Ala Alatoa. Both of them have been Wallaby captains. What an experienced front row.
And Ala Alatoa split, guys. He's got blood pouring down the right side of his face. I don't know how long he'll be able to stay out there before they bring him off, but I think he's going to have to get some treatment. The claret is everywhere.
Liner finds touch. It'll be a line out for the Aussies, 30 metres from the Lions line.
Yeah, the British and Irish Lions there, Ellis Genge unable to maintain his feet, but there is a lot of blood on Alatoa and now Ellis Genge.
Aussies win the line out. Gordon's immediately swamped, though, by McCarthy. He lays it back. Alatoa picks up off the back. Crawls a metre or two forward. Ball out on the left, 30 metres from the Lions line. British and Irish Lions lead 10 points to 0. Gordon blindside for Wilson. And the local hero, the Wallaby captain, taken out on the edge, still 25 out. 1 man infield, Alatoa is immediately met. Lays it back for Gordon. Given on to champion de Crepini. The 29-year-old on debut, no game. So Liner, having had it served out the back, a little chip. It's taken though by the Lions, and they're going to counter to the left. Lowe doesn't run it. He kicks it downfield. What a great catch from Liner. 10 his own side of halfway. That was a low kick, which was right into his breadbasket, and he caught it well. Runs up to halfway and gets stopped. Recycle for the Aussies. Gordon passes infield, and Williams grabbed that didn't know what to do. A little bit disorganised, the Aussies there, as they got back onside. Slow ball for Australia on halfway. Gordon at the back. Puts another box kick in behind the line. Jorgensen flies. Jorgensen wins the ball. Jorgensen scoots 25 metres to score. What a try for the Wallabies. And as he did at Twickenham, Max Jorgensen comes up with a huge play for Australia. That's ignited the series. Lions 10, Wallabies 5, kick to come.
And there it is, Q, the aerial battle. It was a excellent or pinpoint kick there by Jake Gordon, and as the old cliche goes, a kick's only as good as its chase, and Max Jorgensen, that was a fantastic chase. He was able to get up above Hugo Keenan, maintain his feet, and then show a clean pair of heels to score. a much-needed try for the Wallabies.
And remember, he had a checkered Super Rugby season as well, Max Jorgensen. Had that ankle injury, missed so much football, and then he's able to score his third try in Wallaby gold. It's contested ball whether the Wallabies can win this game. What a great start for them. They're finally over Q.
Made his debut in the Rugby Championship last year. Jorgensen, liner from out on the left, the right, should I say, has pushed the ball left. So, yeah, right wing, western side, he's pushed it across the face, no goal. Lions 10, Wallabies 5.
And, you know, Max Jorgensen, the son of an ex-Wallaby himself, and then we see young Tom Liner, also the son of a Wallaby, taking that kick a goal. And Tom Liner was prominent, plucking the ball out of, I think it was James Lowe who kicked a low, hard kick, and Tom Liner did exceptionally well to anticipate where it was going to get the ball back for the Wallabies.
Shortish restart from the Lions will come down outside the 22. It's caught by Wilson, and he goes to ground. Australia gets in behind him. So the kick out in the full not available, just outside the 22 here. McWright receives one man to the right. Atoje there to tackle him, no gain. Men in gold pile in. Slow ball at the back here for Australia. The test match really needed that try for the Aussies. Gordon with the kick downfield. High, comes down on halfway, leapt at and caught by Freeman, who's put to ground. I think he was the man that got out-leapt by Jorgensen and beaten in that battle. Now to centre field. Russell has a run himself, taken down by champion De Crespigny. 40 metres out, good run from Finn Russell. Quick distribution to the blind side right. And the Lions gain another couple of metres on that charge. Now Gibson Park to the wing, gives it on to Sheehan, and the big hook is over the 22, taken 20 out. Passes infield, popped up for Byrne. Tig Byrne into the defence and stopped 20 metres out in the right. Lions now setting up this attacking raid. Tui Pilotu, men to the left. It's a loose pass to the edge. Cleaned up though by Keenan, and he'll go into the defensive line, about 15 metres from the Wallabies line. One man infield for Byrne. Did he let go? Yes, he has. Gibson Park passes to Russell on the 22. Now to Furlong, and the big prop is tackled. Lions 15 out. Gibson Park to the right. Tui Pilotu to Russell. On to Lowe. Lowe taken down by the tackle of Gordon. But the Lions are only 10 metres out now. Back towards centre field. Another run from Tig Byrne. Stopped 7 metres from the Australian line. The Lions fans getting behind the men in red. Finn Russell with a tactical kick to the wing. He's overhit it. It's too far. And he had a man all on his own out there.
He's claiming the try, but I suspect he did knock it on.
That Joe McCarthy.
McCarthy was all by himself on the western wing zone.
Oh, he thought he had it. It was a great kick by Finn Russell. He just reached out with his left hand and put it down. He thought he was going to score one of the great tries in international rugby. But that's what happens, Phil. You get these tired forwards skylarking out on the wing, almost turned into a try for the Lions.
Not quite sure he was skylarking out there, Zano. I think he might have been planned. He did exceptionally well to see the Wallabies' defence was compressed, and Finn Russell once again his vision.
32 minutes played. Lions 10, Wallabies 5. Deep line dropout taken back by Conan up towards the 22. He stopped about 25 out. So the Lions will have another crack at the Wallaby line here. Byrne again, who's done a lot of running in midfield. He's taken down. Gibson Park to the right for Russell. Inside line run by Keenan. Nice defence from the Aussies, knocked him down. On the 22, pass to centre field. McCarthy has it, gives it. It's loose out the back. Beautifully picked up one-handed there by Hugh Jones. Hits the Wallaby defence. He flicks it out the back. It's messy. Gibson Park fumbles. Good pressure from the Australians. Russell, he fumbles it. Was that forward? Atoje takes it. He charges down the middle. No, we're not forward. He stopped though, 15 metres out. Gibson Park passes to the right for Curry. And Tom Curry is 15 out. Senior field as the visiting fans try and encourage their men. Genge gains a couple of metres. Now to the left. Wallaby defence looks pretty good on the right. Nice tackle made. Couple of metres out. Gibson Park flops it back. Low there to receive. Can't get through. Champion De Crespigny there to stop him. Lions ball a couple of metres from the Wallaby line. Big test for the Australians here. They keep it in tight. Burns hit by Alatoa and rocked back, but the advantage is with the Lions. Perhaps offside indeed. That's the call from the referee. So a free hit here for the Lions. Gibson Park chucks it to the right for Lowe. Numbers on the right edge. Lowe doesn't give the pass. He goes himself and loses the ball. Gee, they probably blew a try there, Phil. Nonetheless, back to a penalty for the Lions.
It was exceptional goal line defence there by the Wallaby zone. It looked like a try for all money, and perhaps James Lowe could have given it, but big athletic man thought that he could carry in contact and score. And initially the Wallabies defence was very good, but then Maro Itoje was able to find space through the middle, and once the Lions were on the back foot, it looked like a matter of time before they scored. But as I say, great scramble defence by the Wallabies there.
The interesting thing is they get the penalty, the Lions, they're kicking for touch, and they're going to get the line out 5 metres out. If that had been scored by Lowe, I think the TMO comes back for the knock-on by Gibson Park. I think they would have gone back that far, but now the penalty's on, the set play's ready, they will not go back.
10-5 to the Lions, getting close to half-time, and a 5 metre line out here for the tourists. Ireland Sheehan to throw in for the men in red. Short option to Itoje. Tries to keep it above the ground, but the maul collapses. Fair enough from the Aussie defence too. So now the men in goal try and form that defensive wall at the Caxton Street end. Genge, one man infield, can't get through. They're 6 metres in from the left. Pick and drive infield from Byrne. Tig Byrne! He's pushed to within half a metre. Itoje jumps over the top. Referee says held up. Great defence, Australia. Penalty goes to the Lions, though. Offside, Australia.
Give them the ball.
Yeah, Wallabies have to be careful here now. That's the second penalty in a row. Right down in their red zone. I suspect one more. And, we're just hearing Ben O'Keefe. I'm not quite sure he'll continue to be this patient.
Phil Mooney and Quentin Hull upstairs. Zane Bojack on the touchline. It's the Lions tour on ABC Sport. And it looks like they're going to take a tap and go here. Yep. Sheehan bores forward. He's a metre out when stopped. Infield goes Genge, can't get through. Huge test for the Wallabies here. Curry gets in. Tom Curry scores for the British and Irish Lions with a pick and drive from close range. And the men in red lead at 15-5 with a conversion attempt to come. And Tom Curry, in his second Lions tour, his fourth Lions test, scores his 7th test try.
Yeah, cued the Lions backing their goal line attack there, and it did seem a little too easy. It was a couple of pick and drives, and then Tom Curry was able to be fair, there were a couple of really good clean-outs which created the space, and Tom Curry was able to pick up and just get past Fraser McRide, who slipped off the tackle, and I think Alan Alatoa dived at his Curry dived at Alatoa's leg. So yeah, good attack by the Lions.
Midway goal line and left touch, and 24 out for Russell's conversion attempt. Strikes it well and raises the flags. British and Irish Lions 17, lead Australia 5, and just double checking 3 minutes. Yeah, they sort of go to a few replays on the big screen here. The clock disappears for a moment. 3 minutes left in this first half, Phil.
Yeah, and it's been at the moment pretty dominant by the Lions. So, big last few minutes in this half. If the Lions can score again, it's almost the end of the Test match.
Short restart from the Australians. Burns in a bit of trouble, having gone high and come down hard, but the Lions have got it and will play on. Nice tackle there from champion de Crepini. That just rocks Genge back a little. And it now looks like Burns up and okay. Lions have got the ball 15 inside their own half. Gibson Park puts up the box kick, will come down just inside Australian territory. Knocked backwards by Jorgensen, taken though by Sheehan of the Lions. So once again, the tourists have got it. They're 40 from the Australian line. One man infield. Curry's got it tackled. Flops it out the back to Russell. Bit of a loose pass. Now they shift it to the edge. Given from Keenan onto Tui Palatu. Taken down in the tackle of Frost. Ball recycled for the men in red. 35 metres out. No, the Aussies have got it at the breakdown. Great work from Fraser McRide, who came up with that for Australia in the time of need. And again, loose at the contest, but the Aussies have got it. Frost chucks it out the back. Gordon will kick downfield from 15 inside his own half. Gets almost to the 22 at the other end. Caught on the full by Lowe. Couple of steps before he pumps a left boot downfield. Inside the 22 for the Australians. Tom Wright takes it on the bounce. He's looking at the western touchline, settles himself and drives the right boot into the stands on the Castlemaine Street side of the ground. And a vital Minute and a half coming up here, Phil, before half-time. Lions leading at 17 points to 5.
Yeah, it is, Q, and the kicking game is so important. And outside of a contestable, one of the big metrics is if you're kicking long, you want the ball to bounce, and sort of feel at the moment or the Lions' long kicks are bouncing into space and getting a bit of a run, where when the Wallabies kick, like they did with Jake Gordon on their turnover, it's able to be fielded on the full, which gives the receiving team way more options. So
short line out again. Sheehan to Gibson Park and back to him as the Lions secure possession. Sheehan has tackled 40 metres from the Australian line. We've seen that used quite a bit from the Irish combination. Gibson Park sets it up for McCarthy. Joe McCarthy of Leinster. Boy, there's some Leinster boys in this team. He's a 24-year-old who's early in his test career, just his 20th test tonight, McCarthy. Gibson Park with a kick which will come down on the 22. Lino is taken in the air. That's a yellow card. Penalty to Australia. That was crude.
Easy, guys.
Didn't pick up his number plate, Zano. Who was it? The first enemy of the tour. I think it's Lowe.
Was it Lowe or was it Koenig?
No, it was Curry.
Curry it was.
Penalty, there's lots of bodies. Penalty.
Gee. Liner was fully exposed in the air. Curry took him. He was a metre in the air. If not, then when does that infringement see a player go to the bin?
Yeah, absolutely. Tommy Liner, that's, great bravery. He's had a lot of kicks on him tonight, and yeah, I sort of feel like that was definitely a yellow card. He was in the air, he was unprotected, he did exceptionally well to field it, and it was, you called it perfectly, crude timing by Curry, and he's probably fortunate that he'll run off at half-time without experiencing the referee showing him a yellow card.
So we do get to half-time. The Aussies not creating much from that kick after the penalty. 2 tries to 1 to the British and Irish Lions in the first 40 minutes. And the Tourists lead it by 17 points to 5. Sione Tuipulotu scoring 9 minutes into the test. That was after Finn Russell had kicked a penalty goal. Basically, the first 3 pieces of action were a catch, a give, a tackle, and then Suoli'i didn't let go at the breakdown. So Finn Russell kicked a penalty goal early in the game for 3-0. That became 10-0 when Tuipulotu scored and Russell converted on 9 minutes. And then a fantastic leap from Max Jorgensen to win a contested ball from a kick downfield. He scooted 25 metres to score. 28 minutes into the test match, Liner couldn't convert from out wide. Lions 10, Wallabies 5. And then Tom Curry off the back of persistent pressure on the Wallabies line. A pick and drive from close range, picking up the second try of the test for the Lions. Russell converted. That's your scoring progression for 17-5 at half-time. Your expert thoughts from Phil Mooney.
Actually, Sano, before that, there was some Wallabies in earnest conversation with Ben O'Keefe while Q was talking then. What was it?
Absolutely. So first it was Jake Gordon. He came over and he said, look, that had to be yellow card. What's going on there? Then Al Alatoa had to go. And also Nick Frost, he was adamant. He said, that's just wrong. And then he had to go at the touch judge as well. So the referees definitely came under scrutiny. The one thing I will say is the Lions were denied, I think, a fair try to Hugh Jones early on, so maybe a piece of luck's gone to both teams. But to me, Curry had to go off, and the Wallabies, they pushed the line there, they pushed the boundaries because they were very animated and very aggressive when they were talking to the officials. But yeah, it was an unsavoury end to that half.
Yeah, absolutely. And sorry, as Q was saying, went through the scoring, the Lions have been pretty clinical when they've had the ball, Q. They've been able to get a really good mix between ball in hand, their direct attack, and then when they're going wide with the ability to hit short or, as I say, play out the back and get to width. What I've really enjoyed about Finn Russell tonight, he's one of those great playmakers where he can go square at the line and attract defenders and hit runners flat, or he's got the ability to drift across field and try and isolate defenders and then hit his runners. And he's been exceptional with his attacking option taking there tonight. The Wallabies, they've been brave. They've certainly fought hard at the breakdown. I think the breakdown's been pretty even. The Lions have certainly won the set piece, particularly the line out. The Wallabies have lost 2 or 3 of their own throws. And I sort of feel like the Wallabies have got some pay with their kicking game, but ball in hand, they just haven't been able to crack the British and Irish Lions defence at the moment. We haven't seen a lot of...
I just wanted to ask you about what's Joe Smith's tactic of this pick and drive that goes nowhere at the moment. Why are they happy enough just to keep possession? They haven't been able to bend the Lions' defence. I mean, we saw a number of phases just outside the 22. The Aussies happy to keep possession, but not really denting the red wall.
No, it's certainly not bending the defence at all. As I say, they are playing a little more compressed because the Lions' defence is so effective, just so the Wallabies have support players close to the ball carrier. I guess, ultimately he's hoping that a lot of that close quarters, short running, picking and driving does sap the British and Irish Lions, and we won't know that until the back end of the game. But we haven't really seen the Tom Wrights and the Joseph Suwalis of the world with the ball in their hands at the moment.
Thanks, Phil. It's 17 points to 5 in favour of the Lions over the Wallabies at half-time. A reminder, if you do want to hear the league, it's available on the ABC Listen app. Look for the green button. Into the second half, Manly lead Melbourne. It's an interesting scoreline. 10-minute second half, Manly Warringah 16, lead Melbourne 6. Earlier, victories for Canberra and Canterbury Bankstown. The Bulldogs with a late try beat the Dragons 20 points to 18. Canberra too strong for Parramatta, 40 points to 16. And in the AFL half-time, Carlton lead Melbourne by 19 points at the break. The Blues 6-4-40 to the D's 3-3-21. While over in the West, that game's just early in the second quarter. Richmond taking on the locals there, and it's the Tigers 3-2-20 over the Eagles 2-4-16. If you want to get in touch, we'd like to hear from you on 0467 920 222. It's half-time in the first test of the 2025 Lions Tour, and it's the British and Irish Lions leading the Wallabies 17 points to 5 back at the Cauldron after a trip to the ABC newsroom.
ABC News, good evening. I'm William Howard. Counting is underway in Tasmania's snap state election, with the ABC calling 11 seats for the Liberals, 5 for Labor, 3 Greens and 1 Independent so far. Josh Duggan has more.
The ABC's chief elections analyst Casey Briggs has called Tasmanian Premier Jeremy Rockliff as the first member returned to the state's 35-seat lower house. Early counting shows a slight swing to the Liberals and away from Labor. Former federal Liberal MPs Bridget Archer and Gavin Pearce have also been elected to Bass and Braddon respectively. In Lions, Deputy Premier Guy Barnett has claimed his seat again. Independent Christy Johnston looks to have been re-elected in Clark. Anti-salmon farming independent Peter George is polling strongly in the southern seat of Franklin.
Former Labor leader, now Independent David O'Byrne, supported a Liberal government last year. He says he's now open to working with both parties.
Let's see where the numbers lay, and I will talk to whoever picks up the phone to me that wants to work with me, and that's always been my commitment. Last year I didn't have the luxury of a choice of 2, I had a luxury of 1.
A record spike in early voting for Tasmania's snap state election has been attributed to its timing. A total of 132,000 Tasmanians voted early this year, either at pre-polling centres or via phone. That's approximately 32% of enrolled voters and about a 20% increase on last year's election. The state's electoral commissioner, Andrew Hawkey, says more and more Australians are heading to the polls early, but believes this election's numbers have been influenced by school holidays.
It is a growing trend in Australia for people to early vote, but I think the school holidays really made an impact. So we ended up with about 20,000 more pre-poll votes this year than last year, but we can see most of that occurred in that first week before the school holidays. So I think people were doing the right thing, making sure they voted before they were heading off overseas or interstate.
The Israeli military says dozens of Israeli citizens have crossed the border in the Israel-occupied Golan Heights into Syria and entered a Druze village. It says the Israeli citizens used violence against Israeli forces trying to disperse a gathering in the area. It comes after days of deadly sectarian clashes between Druze and Bedouin fighters in southern Syria. The Wall Street Journal says it will vigorously defend the defamation lawsuit brought against it by US President Donald Trump. Larry Buttrose reports.
Mr. Trump filed what he called a powerhouse lawsuit for more than $15 billion over publications of claims he wrote a bawdy birthday note to sex offender Jeffrey Epstein in 2003. A spokesperson for the Wall Street Journal says it has full confidence in the accuracy and rigour of the reporting. The court action pits Mr. Trump against media magnate Rupert Murdoch, whose Fox News network has backed him over the past decade. It comes as the Justice Department asks a judge to unseal documents related to the Epstein case, following intense criticism of the Trump administration's handling of it.
Microsoft says it will stop using China-based engineers to provide technical assistance to the US military. It comes after a report in investigative journalism outlet ProPublica sparked questions from a US senator and prompted Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth to order a 2-week review of Pentagon cloud deals. The report details Microsoft's use of Chinese engineers to work on US military cloud computing systems under the supervision of US digital escorts. Microsoft, which is a major contractor of the US government, has had its systems breached by Chinese and Russian hackers. To sport now, and in the AFL, Sydney midfielder Isaac Heaney has booted 5 goals and recorded 13 clearances in a dominant display against North Melbourne. The Swans defeated the Kangaroos by 31 points at the SCG for their 3rd straight win. But Heaney told Fox Sports there's still a lot of room for improvement.
I think we're still pretty patchy, to be honest. It's good that we're getting over the line. I think this is what we weren't doing at the start of the season. We're sort of losing games by a couple of goals, but now we're sort of winning by a couple of goals. So it definitely has changed, but I think we're still a little way off.
Earlier, Hawthorn defeated Port Adelaide by 38 points. And the Bulldogs have lost their first match in the NRLW to St George Illawarra in Sydney. After winning their opening 2 matches, the new team went down to local rivals the Dragons, 18 points to 14 in a tight contest. And you're up to date with the very latest ABC News.
Rugby Union's greatest tour is here. ABC Sport has all the live action of every British and Irish Lions game in Australia. Look for the Sports Extra button on the ABC Listen app.
Hello, Patrick Stack here. Do you like sport and good conversation? Then we've got a great podcast for you. One cracking story, in depth, every day, in under 15 minutes. It's called ABC Sport Daily, and you can find it on the ABC Listen app.
This is the Wallabies versus the British and Irish Lions on ABC Sport.
It's the business end of rugby's greatest tour. The Test Series begins in Brisbane. Gibson Park back to the left, low, just a little dance on and then loses the ball. No, it's picked up by Genge, charging close to the line, only half a metre out. Gibson Park pops it up. They keep it alive. Finn Russell now with a long pass to the right, exquisite pass, puts in Tui Palotu. And the line is there, straight up. An Australian is the first Lion to score in 2025. Gordon at the back, puts another box kick in behind the line. Jorgensen flies, Jorgensen wins the ball! Jorgensen scoots 25 metres to score! What a try for the Wallabies! And as he did at Twickenham, Max Jorgensen comes up with a huge play for Australia. That's ignited the series. Lions 10, Wallabies 5, kick to come. And it looks like they're going to take a tap and go here. Yep. Sheehan pours forward. He's a metre out when stopped. Infield goes Genge. Can't get through. Huge test for the Wallabies here. Curry gets in. Tom Curry scores for the British and Irish Lions with a pick and drive from close range. And the men in red lead at 15-5.
This is the Wallabies versus the British and Irish Lions on your radio, on digital and the ABC Listen app.
Welcome back to the light show at Lang Park at half-time. We've got lasers going around the place. John Farnham bursting out of the speakers. Or a cover. No, I think that is Farnsey. Yeah, Quentin Hull and the team with you. The British and Irish Lions with 2-1 in the opening 40 minutes of this series. A dominant first half. From the tourists, they lead 17 points to 5. G'day to Hamish and Tina and Charlie. They're tuning into the wireless from out in the sticks in Vanuatu. They've got a candle on, the generator running, old school all the way, ever hopeful of a Wallabies resurgence. What a privilege it is to bring the game to you, wherever you are. G'day. Thanks, Hamish, Tina and Charlie. If you want to get in touch, you can do so on 0467 920 222, 0467 920 222. How about a shout-out? This is the City Rowers boys. Okay. Cheering on the Wallabies from around the fire on Stradbroke Island, Main Beach, camping on our annual boys trip, laughing at the name Gibson Park, which is well-known local cricket ground at Stafford. Yes. Cheers from the City Rowers boys. Wow. I was actually at Straddy a couple of weeks ago with the kids during school holidays. What a fantastic spot. Stradbroke Island, Main Beach. Good on your City Rowers boys. Enjoy the fire. Hopefully the Wallabies can catch fire, so to speak, in the second half. You can get in touch 0467 920 222. Okay, Phil. I think the Wallabies are lucky to only be 12 down. So, what's the message? What's the sell from Joe Schmidt to the men in gold at halftime?
Well, I sort of feel like, Q, as you say, the Wallabies are hanging in at the moment. The Lions have been dominant around the physicality of the game. I sort of feel like when we have had the ball from turnovers or errant kicks, we've looked to kick it back for field position. Now's the time where we've got to try. I said it just before halftime. We've got to get Suwali. We've got to get, Tom Wright, Max Jorgensen. He was electric on the one or two occasions when he did touch the ball. We've got to try and get those guys into the game, and to do that, ball in hand and try and move the Lions around, just so we're playing a little more unstructured rugby, because when it's structured, when the Lions are able to set their defence, they've been extremely good.
Second half underway. Liner kicks off. Lions lead 17-5. Just outside the 22. Not clean from the Lions first time, but cleaned up by Keenan. It is inside the 22, so the kick out on the full is available. It was fumbled back there, not taken back inside the 22. One man to the left, but Conan is quickly taken down. Slow ball for Jamison Gibson Park. Former Blue, former Hurricane out of Kiwi land before he went to Ireland and played for Leinster to get his Irish residency. The ball's gone over the touchline to kick downfield, and Wallabies with a line-out throw, 40 from the Lions line.
You know what, Q, before this series I would have said that it was a lifetime dream to see the Lions here in Brisbane. It's a long throw.
And stolen by Curry of England, and the Lions past the midfield, up over halfway goes Jones. Jones to the 22, still going Hugh Jones before taken down, only 10 metres out. Off another mistake from the Australians at the line-out. Midfield now, Tyke Furlong's tackle, 10 metres out in centre field. Laid back for Gibson Park, back to the right for Jones, given on to Curry. Catch and give to the edge, and Sheehan goes in next to the corner post. The Lions strike early in the second half. And again, it's a failure from the Australian set piece that gives them the opportunity. Dan Sheehan of Ireland scores his 16th Test try, and the Lions lead 22 points to 5.
Yeah, and that's the best possible start for the British and Irish Lions. The Wallabies line out on the halfway. Fezler threw over the back, and once the ball clears the 15, it's game on, and the Lions actually anticipated the throw better than the Australians and were able to secure the ball, and Hugh Jones streaked into space, and it looked like initially he should have given it, and when he cut backfield, the Wallabies might have been able to hang on, but from that breakdown, Dan Sheehan too strong and over the top of Harry Potter to score.
Finn Russell from out on the right. Oh, that's a dart. A beautiful right-footed kick from the Scottish fly half, Finn Russell. Lions now lead the Test match by 24 points to 5, which is probably a fairer replication of the rugby we've seen, dare I say it, Phil Mooney.
Yeah, I think it's a reflection of their dominance, Q, absolutely, and as I say, a perfect start to the second half of the Lions.
Australia with the restart has been knocked on and regathered by McWright, so they'll blow that up. G'day to the Roberts family who are listening in from Hvar in Croatia. by the pool with a cold beer. Di from Brisbane text, come on, Aussie, come on, I want to have a go. I don't want Australia to fail. Well, Di, they're in a bit of strife. 0467 920 222 to get in touch. Quentin Hull, Phil Mooney and Zane Bojack bringing the Lions to you on ABC Sport.
Yeah, and remember I told you that I'm sitting next to the Lions. We're watching McCarthy come off here at the moment too. So I think they're going to do an early substitution.
Ollie Chesham's coming on.
Chesham's coming. Can I tell you something? At half-time, I saw Duan van der Merwe and Henry Pollock dancing to the Choir Boys' Run to Paradise. It was amazing. And Owen Farrell's sitting 2 seats down from me. This is Boys' Own annual moment.
You wanted to get up on the dance floor with those guys,
Oh, I do not want.
Saturday night out at the rugby with just a couple of superstar internationals. Scrum time for the Lions. 15 inside their own half. Gibson Park. Oh, his pass. Infield is knocked on by Russell. Yeah, it's a bit high. So that was a bit loose from the Irish-Scottish combination at 9-10.
Yeah, and that's one of their first errors tonight. And initially from the scrum, Gibson Park went to the left-hand side and then darted back to the right-hand side, and they'd actually created a little bit of space there. It was just the pass, the first one that Russell's thrown, that hasn't been accurate, and Tui Pilotu was unable to handle it.
Let's go, guys. We have a sit.
Alatoa just taking a moment to come across to this scrum zone.
Yeah, and I was just going to say, he's actually been trying to get the grass out of his sprigs. I think they've been struggling, both teams, with their grip, and that's why they've been engaging early, and we've seen a lot of short-arm penalties, but both teams now trying to get themselves ready for the press. The Wallabies, this is one of the areas where they've been strong, their scrum.
Aussie scrum 30 metres out. 5 minutes into the second half. And the Lions already have extended that half-time lead. It's 24-5 to the Tourists. Referee Ben O'Keefe doesn't like it the first time. Absolutely packed house. One of the greatest atmospheres that you can experience in Australian sport without leaving Australia, because it's like you're taken to a different part of the world, Phil. The chanting, the colours, the sheer mass of them. The red migration will shortly move south to Melbourne and then finish in Sydney.
Yeah, it's one of the great sporting occasions. Q, and as you said, the southern end is exclusively all red, and gee, they've had a lot to cheer about tonight.
Jake Gordon about to feed this scrum, slightly left of centre field for the Australians and 30 metres from the Caxton Street in goal area. The test match needs a golden moment from the Wallabies. Gordon controls at the back of the scrum. Pass to Ikitau. Centre field runs into the defence. Russell takes him down. Recycle Australia 25 out. Gordon has a pick and drive, gains a couple of metres. Nick Wright has a pick and drive, gets inside the 22. But, there was an obstruction line from Fraser McWright. Penalty goes to the Lions.
Yeah, and just from that scrum, I think it was the first pass, not out in front, that just sort of had the impact of slowing down the Wallaby attack. Fraser McWright then picked and drove to try and give a bit of front football, but unfortunately ran into the back of another Wallaby.
The clean out was sort of just men wandering through. I think it was Jeremy Williams who was the guy that was in the way. It was probably needless as well, just loose from the Australians at the breakdown.
Yeah, it's the Wallabies are under pressure in all facets of this game at the moment.
Lions find touch and will affect the line out 7 metres inside their own half. Taken down by Chesham, who's out there for McCarthy. Pass to centre field for Russell's kick. It's a tactical shortish kick towards the right wing, which bubbles into Australian hands. Suali'i takes it. He's been pretty quiet, Joe Suali'i. He's 12 metres inside Australian territory. 10 inside the western touchline. Gordon passes one man in field to Frost, but they're winning the collision, the Lions. Line speed's been good, timing's been good, and not much progression from the Australians in tight at the breakdown through 46 minutes of the test match. So Gordon kicks downfield. Another high ball taken 10 inside Lions territory by fullback Keenan. Given to Russell. Russell's kick is charged down and ricochets back towards the Lions 22. Keenan cleans it up. He chucks an optimistic pass out to Jones on the edge. He'll kick it downfield. High ball, Wright takes it for Australia on the 10 inside his own half. Wright runs it back at the Lions. Low and Jones is there to make the tackle. Australian ball a couple of metres inside their own half. One man infield to Frost. But again, not over the gain line. Liner's going to kick it downfield. I think they've changed that tactic, Phil. They don't want to just bang, bang, bang. If they're not moving, they'll kick it. Caught by Keenan outside his 22. Lions have got the ball. He gives to Lowe. Lowe to Russell. Russell boots it downfield for territory. From the Lions 22 to the Australian 22. Gathered on the bounce by fullback Wright. Tommy Wright to run it back for the Aussies. Nailed by the tackle of Byrne. Knocked him down, but the Australians have got the ball on the recycle. Pass to the right edge is fluffed out the back by Liner. Luckily not locked on. He's cleaned it up as he got support at the breakdown. They hold him up. What does the referee say? Contest for possession on the Australian 22, and the men in gold have just kept it. 8 minutes into the second half. Lions lead 24-5. It's ABC Sport at the Cauldron. And again, the Wallabies under pressure inside their 22. But it's controlled here by Gordon at the back of that breakdown. And he boots it over the eastern touchline. And the Lions will be able to get ready for this set piece at the line out 35 metres from the Australian line.
Yeah, and the Wallabies, their attack is completely static. Tom Liner at 10. He has no options here. It's dead ball when he gets it. So all we've seen is Jake Gordon box kicking. I sort of feel now, if the Wallabies are going to have a shot, they've got to get Tate McDermott into the game. They've got to speed it up around the breakdown. They've got to try and start to create some front football.
Yeah, Big Alice Genges coming off to a standing ovation from the Lions supporters and the Lions players beside me, and it's going to be Porter who's out there, guys.
The tattooed prop is out there, thanks Zane. Lions win the line out there, 25 out. Now blindside Sheehan. Bounces off the tackle of Wilson. Wilson goes again, and the big hooker for the Lions is tackled 24 metres out. Gibson Park passes infield to Curry. The English first half try scorer tackled on the 22 for the men in red. Pass back to right and centre field. Russell pops it up. Well, that was a little bit clunky. Conan got it, now gets going. And over the 22 after it looked a bit messy to start with. He's taken down. Now to the left. Russell exchange with Curry. Given it to Ipolotu. Grubber down the wing. Goes over the touchline. A metre or two from the corner post. So happy enough to just ask the question of the Australian line out. 5 from their own line here. And the red voices are heard not only here in Brisbane but around the world of rugby.
Yeah, there's some sore bodies out there dressed in gold jerseys at the moment. Billy Pollard and Angus Bell entering the fray now, but as I say, Len Ikitau's down on one knee getting treated. There's hands on hips from the Wallabies, and it's just red wave after red wave at the moment of attack, and there's no answer for the Wallabies. As I say, I sort of feel like if they are going to try and change the course of the game, and it's a really big if, Tate McDermott's got to get out there and just try and speed up the game and add a little bit more width to the Wallaby attack. If they're going to continue to play like this, it's just going to... They're asking no questions of the Lions' defence. So, as I say, they've got to change it up.
While the TMO's reviewing Q, we've seen Pollard and also Bell come on to replace Fezler, and a good stint by James Slipper.
So, Richard Kelly's just having a look at a few replays at TMO. Quite sure what the crowd's doing and knowing about it. I think it was...
I think it went 3 red a shoulder to the head of one of the Wallabies.
Obviously, looking at contact, I think I need to see it in real speed as well.
So it's Tyke Furlong.
The danger that's involved.
Just having a look. Yeah, so Conan sort of broke that tackle, and then the clean out.
Okay.
It was on Ikitau.
Clean out from Furlong.
Reason being, we do have heat contact.
Here we go.
Starts at yellow, but the mitigation is actually the players rising. Okay, so I've got a penalty against 3.
So it starts at yellow.
Happy with that? Okay, we're going to penalise 3 red. Are you happy with that outcome? And put it back to me and I'll explain. Okay, so we do have foul play. We have shoulder to the head. It starts at yellow card. The mitigation is the fact that the player is rising up. So he's changing his head position. So penalty only here.
Only a penalty.
Only a penalty, because Len is actually coming up into the contact. Okay, so we go to penalty.
So Tyke Furlong stays out there. Probably been a couple of occasions. Curry's tackle on...
He's moving up.
And Liner was a bit dicey. He didn't get a yellow card, and Tyke Furlong stays out there as well. So not a line out for Australia now. It's a liner kick as Tom Liner boots it over the touchline and finds touch just a blade of grass or two inside Australian territory on the outer side. And now Billy Pollard, a 23-year-old from the Brumbies in his 8th test, races to grab the Gilbert to throw into his first line out of this test series.
Australia's got to find some way of getting Suaalii into this match as they finally win a line-out cue.
And ball to centre field for the run of Ikitau. Taken down right in the middle of Lang Park. Recycle for Gordon. Given to the left for Liner. He bounces off the tackle of Curry before being taken down by Chesham. Aussies gain a metre or two. Just beyond halfway. Now Pollard slips a tackle of Itoje. Bit of gain there. It is opening up slightly right to the right. Gives it on to Suaalii. They must have heard Jazeno. Suaalii tackled 40 from the Lions line. Now Angus Bell with a charge. He stopped 38 metres out. Liner passes left and centre field. Frost quick hands to Williams. Williams is tackled by Tui Polito and Jones. Recycle Australia. 40 out to the left. Ikitau gives it on to right. Quick hands from Jorgensen out to Potter. No way through for Harry Potter. Good defence from the men in red. And the Aussies bring it one man back infield to skipper Wilson. Harry Wilson tackled. Quick recycle. Couple of sets of hands to Alatoa, more centre third. But he's still about 38 metres out when stopped. Back to the blind. Knocked on by Jeremy Williams, who was looking at the oncoming defence. And he dropped the ball. And that ends the Australian possession for now. 50 minutes into the test match. Lions 24, Wallabies 5. It's Lions Tour 2025 on ABC Sport.
Thank you. That's been the Wallabies' most promising multiple phases of attack. When we look at breakdowns, if you can clear the ball from 0 to 3 seconds, we call that lightning quick ball, and the Wallabies were able to do that on a couple of occasions. As I say, Jake Gordon is then getting there and shifting two runners. I'd love to see him try and take a dart around the breakdown just to draw in some of those Lions defenders to create the space out wide. At the moment, without a running threat from him, the Lions are able to maintain their width and pick the Wallabies off, relatively easily.
Lions scrum 10 inside their own half. Penalty to Australia. Well, not going to dabble in the dark arts, but obviously great work. Excuse me, there from the Angus Bell out there. Comes up with a good play early on for Australia.
Yeah, it was, and already we've seen impact from Billy Pollard and Angus Bell, both at the set piece and with the ball in hand. Billy Pollard used some great footwork to get to space earlier, and Angus Bell a couple of big carries, and on this occasion with the scrum, we saw the Lions tight head prop lose his feet there, and that's through excellent scrum penalty by the Wallaby front row.
And Liner finds touch 10 metres from the Lions line.
Yeah, I'm surprised Will Stewart's not out there. Tyke Furlong, he is absolutely fatigued.
Line out Australia on the attack. Pollard throws in, taken by the Aussies, immediately given to a man on the blind side, but it's wrapped up by the red wall. Australia has possession 7 metres from the goal line. Lions lead the test 24-5. Slow ball, and it's been neutralised by the Lions, and they earn the scrum feed. And I just couldn't. Yeah, it was champion De Crespigny. He was wrapped up so quickly, I couldn't even recognise him for a moment there. Great work. I think it was predominantly Tyke Byrne in the tackle to ensure that Nick Champion De Crespigny couldn't keep that moving for Australia.
Yeah, and that was great defence. The Wallabies trying a variation to their line out around the front. The British and Irish Lions, as you said, Q, were able to hold Nick Champion De Crespigny up, and the rule is if you get held up and the referee calls maul and you don't get the ball out beyond that call, well, it's the opposition ball in. So it was once again great defence by the Lions.
If you want to get in touch, the number 0467 920 222. Quentin Hull, Phil Mooney and Zane Bojack at the Cauldron for the Lions Tour on ABC Sport. Around the grounds in the NRL, getting close to full time at 16 all between Melbourne and Manly, so a good finish coming up there. 16 all in the AFL. Getting close to three-quarter time. Carlton and Melbourne are locked up at 7-4-46 apiece. Half-time, Richmond 6-3-39 lead West Coast 4-6-30. Here, the Lions win their scrum on their own line. Tui Polito runs over the top of Liner before McWright's there to make the top tackle. Liner's up and okay. Good run from the first try scorer of the night. The boy from Melbourne, who's the Scottish captain now, Gibson Park. Out the back of that breakdown. puts the ball to his right boot, will find touch out on the western side. Australia with a line out now 35 metres from the Lions line, and this is a part of Australia's game that hasn't looked all that solid. The scrum's been okay, but the line out has been dodgy.
Yeah, the Lions picked it tall.
And a quick throw in here works it out. Frost up high. Sorry, Phil. They went about it quickly rather than mucking around. Ikitau midfield tackle. Wallabies ball, 40 from the Lions line. One man to the left for Wilson. Almost got through, got a pass away, and Frost is up to the 22, dragged down by Itoje. Front foot ball for the Australians. One man to the left for Pollard. Taken down on the 22. Now it goes to McWright. He can't get through. 15 in from touch on the left. Back to right and open side. Pass to Bell, one man infield. Gus Bell taken down on the 22 for the Wallabies. To the right, Liner gives it on to Suali'i. Got two around him. He takes a couple of metres forward though. Tackled, recycled. Now Ikitau. Blindside and right. He's about 15 out when stopped. This is better from the Australians. Back to centre field for Pollard. Advantage Australia here. Playing with a free hit at the line. Right passes for Suali'i. Takes contact. Pops it up for Potter. He goes with a little kick with advantage. It creates nothing. Back for the penalty for the Australians.
Yeah, that's a needless kick from Harry Potter. The Wallabies had advantage, but Q, you called it correctly. The Wallabies are now speeding the game up, getting the ball into the line outs. And for the first time, it looks like the Lions' defence is under a bit of pressure. We've seen a high tackle. We've seen them slip off a couple. And as I say, that's why I sort of feel the game is calling for Tate McDermott now, just so off the back of this speed and faster recycle, he can look to dart around the breakdown.
All right, I'm going to be the first to say it. Test 2, Paisami comes in at outside centre, and I'd either have Suali'i on the wing and put right at fullback, or vice versa. You can't have Harry Potter anymore. That was the dumbest thing I've ever seen, and Suali'i's got to get more ball.
Zano pulling the big calls, only 56 minutes into the series. Well, Aussies might score next. They might get back into the test zone. It's a line out, 10 from the Lions line. Out on the right, Pollard throws in. Wilson takes it, chucks it down to McWright. To left, and centre field, Gordon, Ikitau. Suali'i tackled by Tuipolatu, 10 out. Quick use for Australia. Liner, he doesn't know what to do. Gets tackled. Recycled for the Aussies, though. Boring forward, Angus Bell. He gets a bit of front football. Aussies 8 metres out. One man to the left for McWright. This is better phase rugby from the Australians. They're finally getting over the game line. Ikitau stopped 4 metres out. Wilson goes on a charge. Boy, he's close. Boy, he's close, Harry Wilson.
Back for the penalty.
Held up. Penalty Australia anyway.
Where is it?
The gold wall is starting to get through the red wall, Phil, with ball in hand.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd love to see Tom Hooper out there as well now, Zano. I sort of feel like the Wallabies are getting momentum, bring on a couple of fresh bodies. Hooper's a big athletic guy as well.
And Tizano, I'd love to see Tizano out there as well too. I think he could do some damage at the breakdown.
Yeah, I think Tom Hooper for Jeremy Williams, Tate McDermott on, and Tizano not too far off either. I think that's a good call as well, Zane.
Another line out for Australia here. That's Tom Liner kicking for touch. 17 points to 5 at half-time to the Lions. They scored right at the start of the second half with Dan Sheehan, the hooker, going over in the far right corner. Russell with a conversion. Lions 24, Wallabies 5. Yes, Zane?
Yeah, Stewart's out there, and we see Big Bundy Arki coming on, and Ben Earl. So they're running the changes here. Andy Farrell's men. There are a lot of red shirts being turned over here.
Okay. So
Tom Robinson for Alatoa.
Robinson on.
Tuipolatu coming off cue, so Bundy Arki will go into the centres.
So it's Tuipolatu that's off. Okay.
And also Curry's coming off.
So, yep, lots of changes run. Line out is taken by the Australians, and they get them all going. It's creeping towards the touchline though. So Gordon forages for it, pops it infield to Ikitau. Tackled only 6 metres out. Australia needs a try to inject themselves into this first test match. Champion de Crepney taken down 6 metres out. One man infield, Gus Bell can't get through. But it's quick ball for the Wallaby Gold. Gordon passes to Frost, bores into the line. Again, no great gain. This red wall set up about 6 metres from their own line. One man infield, but again, the Australians can't get through. Picked up and taken forward by Bell. It was Robertson to Bell there, the big props combining. Australia with the ball, 6 metres out. Make it 4 metres out on a pick and drive to the right. Come on, Aussie fans, get behind them at Lang Park. Don't let this red mob yell you down. Pollard picks up and has a drive. Advantage Australia. 3 metres from the line. Gordon back to the left for Ikitau. Gives it on to Potter. His pass is knocked on, back for the advantage for Australia. Now is this a yellow card on repeated infringements? Let's tune in to referee Ben O'Keefe. Maro Itoje comes forward.
Maro, too many defensive penalties inside the 22. When they're going forward, you've got to get back onside and your pillars are offside. The next one's going to be a yellow card. Okay, the guys understand. Penalty here.
Final warning.
From this same situation in the first half, the Lions took a tap penalty and scored. Be interesting to see what the Wallabies do, whether they take the scrum, tap, or look to kick it out and go the maul again.
We're almost the hour mark, and the score is 24-5 against. But dare I say it, Phil, Australia looks like for the first time in the Test match, they've got some traction in the Test match.
Here he comes, Tom Hooper, just as you called, and Tate McDermott comes on. So Gordon's going off, and just waiting to see who he's going to replace. It looks like it's Williams coming.
Williams, yep. So Joe Schmidt with a couple of changes. Tate McDermott for his 43rd cap. Tom Hooper just his 12th. And there's a scrum here for the Aussies, 5 metres from the in-goal area at the Caxton Street end.
If the Wallabies can get a stable platform here, don't be surprised to see Tate McDermott scoot out.
Under the black dot for this scrum. Important moment early in this series for Australia. McDermott feeds and controls off the back. Scurries to the right. Inside line, Suali'i. Someone dived at his legs. Surely that's a penalty. The Aussies might have got in here anyway. Yes, it's a try. Australia has scored among that mass of men. The Test match is alive. And it's Suali'i who has scored anyway. He's picked up by his teammates. He's lucky to have his kneecaps. That was a dangerous attempted tackle.
That's just called it, Zano. There's no arms at all in that tackle, but Tate McDermott out.
Yeah, it was Ben Earl who dived at his legs, and then Suali'i goes in to score. And I think the referees are having a look at this.
Well, I think that's, to me, a cut and dry yellow card. There's no arms.
Our on-field decision is try, because I believe I've got the ball grounded over the line. Similar to the one in the first half, we just need to see if the tackle was complete.
So Suali'i actually kept a hold of the ball after having his legs knocked out. And the question is, was the tackle complete as he rolled into the in-goal area?
He kept crawling, didn't he? That was the thing. I honestly think it might be a no try.
That's not a try.
Yeah, but how is Ben Earl still out there?
Well,
we had ball carrier to ground.
That might be the thing,
He's never held there.
So everyone inside Lang Park looking to the big screens at the northern and southern ends. 24-5 is the scoreline. We're at the hour mark of this Test match. The Lions in the lead, but Australia starting to get on top.
Well, I don't know how you can award a try there unless the British and Irish Lions defenders have dragged him.
So Richard Kelly of New Zealand is the television match official. And Ben O'Keefe's looking at the big screen beyond the H-pole at the Caxton Street end.
There's no arms there, tackle.
Yeah, that's the concern. I think for the Lions, I think they could have a yellow card here for Earl. I don't think it's a no. I think it's a no try.
We just go through firstly. So the first, we believe that 21 doesn't use both arms in the tackle.
Is it 21 or 20?
The first infringement. So
I don't think he used either arm, let alone both.
We just want to make sure that the ball is grounded. No, so there's arms in that.
Well, they're saying that Ben Earl did get his right arm up to try and make the tackle.
Hasn't Richard Kelly had some difficult decisions tonight?
Holding.
We check it again from the camera.
The ball's definitely grounded from Joseph Suali'i. But well, now there's the three officials out there. Big moment in the test.
So just as we go through this, the first thing that we were clearing is making sure that there was no foul play by Red in the lead-up. My view is that he uses both arms. Are you happy with that?
Both arms?
Okay. The second thing is that there is no tackle, but the Lions are on top of the ball and they are holding on to the ball, and because of that they drag Wallabies into in goal.
Okay.
They should win the ball.
It'll be a try. It'll be a try.
So Harry, we checked in the build-up.
No.
Okay, there's no foul play. We do have a legal.
He uses his two arms.
He uses two arms.
Are you sure?
We are very sure about that. Okay. Afterwards, there's no tackle, but there's Lions players on the ball. Joseph needs to release the ball. He doesn't, and that's how he gets to in goal. So it's a penalty here, no try.
No try.
Wow.
No yellow card. No change to the score. Lions 24, Wallabies 5.
I certainly feel like they got the second part of that right. The Lions were on the ball, and in the act of trying to take it off Joseph Suaalii, dragged him over the try line, but I fail to see how there were any arms in that tackle and how Ben Earl's still on the field.
Oh, imagine the talk after this test match. Oh, this next 7 days, Q, the fuse has been lit. We're going to be talking plenty about this game leading into Melbourne.
Donaldson on for Liner.
And Kelleher's on for Sheehan too, and you can see Kelleher's about to throw.
Into the line out, and the Lions take it. They're just outside their 22. Lions ball.
Up now.
And they keep it above the ground. And now it crumbles to deck. Advantage to the Lions. So taken down by the Wallabies. Gibson Park with the free hit with the kick. It's a shallow bomb coming down on halfway. Lowe knocks it on. So back for the penalty to the British and Irish Lions. Quentin Hull, Phil Mooney and Zane Bojack with you. It's the Lions tour on ABC Sport. If you want to get in touch, 0467 920 222.
Yeah, and that's not a great penalty by Tom Hooper there. The Lions won their line out, were moving it forward, and he's given away a soft penalty, pulling them all down. So the Wallabies have literally gone from a penalty 5 metres out to a penalty on the halfway to now a line out 60 metres from their try line.
Manly has defeated Melbourne in that NRL game. The Sea Eagles 18 over the Storm 16. 18-16 for Manly over Melbourne. So the Sea Eagles, the Bulldogs and the Raiders winners in the NRL today. Indeed, a line out for the Lions. Oh, that's messy. 40 from the Wallabies line. Taken at the back by Pollard. He decides to kick it downfield. It finds touch. And that gains 25 metres or so for the Australians.
Once again, Q, that's Billy Pollard, the hooker, who's been good since he's come on, but the Wallabies had a penalty for a balk at the line out and he kicked the ball away.
Yeah,
so Australia's not going to win the test match giving the ball back to the Lions.
Second dumb play in the space of about 6 minutes.
Outside, everyone, outside.
Well, a loose line out again from the Lions, but it's been cleaned up by Conan. Cuts to midfield, taken down by McDermott. Pops it out the back, but it's pinched by the Australians. Bell was there to read that flick pass. Australia's got the ball after a messy exchange on halfway. They shift it to the left. Tom Wright gives it on to Suaalii, slowly getting into the test match. He's taken down 35 out in the left. Blindside McDermott gives it to Wilson. Grab it down the touchline. Here comes Potter. Oh, not quite the wizardry moment for the Wallabies as the Gilbert took a left turn and goes over the touchline before Harry could get his hands on it.
Yeah, it was great use of the short side by the Wallabies, and it was Harry Wilson who rolled the ball through on his right foot this time. We're accustomed to see him kicking with the left foot.
For those of you joining us from the NRL coverage, welcome to the first of the British and Irish Lions test against the Wallabies. Quentin Hull, Phil Mooney and Zane Bojack with you at a packed-out Lang Park. You join us with 63 minutes elapsed in the test match and the Lions leading 24 points to 5. Now, a 17-5 in front at half-time, but outside of a very early try in this second half to the Lions, the Wallabies have had the better of the play. It's 3 tries to 1. Tui Polatu, Curry and Sheehan scoring for the Lions, Jorgensen scoring for the Wallabies. And Australia has a scrum now, attacking the Caxton Street end. In fact, it's a Gibson Park feed for the British and Irish Lions. It's been a pretty dominant performance from the Lions through the first half. But as the game has grown to the hour mark, the Wallabies are having the better of it. Messy scrum on the Lions line, and Bundy Arki receives the pass. So the Lions do run it up infield. He's 10 metres from his own line, Big Bundy.
And Q, as our NRL audience has joined, I think they need to realise that was some commentary gold by you. Wizardry from Harry Wilson for Harry Potter. I love that.
Gibson Park finds touch on the western side with a kick downfield. Yeah, I was just hoping for it to to bounce to, go with the lines about a bit of Wallaby magic for Potter and all that type of stuff. Didn't quite get there.
Yeah, it was still pretty impressive, mate. And that's what the Wallabies happen in the second half. They've got to win this line out.
Pollard to throw into the line out, 35 from the Lions line. Taken comfortably by Frost, given to McDermott, runs infield and gets taken. Tate McDermott's 35 out centre field. A little dummy and go from Bell, no great gain. At the breakdown, McDermott back to the left, gives it on to Frost. Rides the tackle, passes to McWright. McWright's wrapped up by Tyke Byrne. And Australia recycle, 30 metres out in the left. Back to one man infield, Tom Hooper charges into the defensive line. Gains a metre or two. Now blindside Icky Tau. He smashed in the tackle of Stewart. Out the back, McDermott gives it back to Hooper. Can't get through. So, advantage to Australia here. What do they do? Wilson charges off the right shoulder of his Reds teammate. Gains a couple of metres. Still advantage for Australia. McWright gives the pass onto Donaldson. Now to Potter. Potter chips for the right wing for Jorgensen. He just keeps it in. Flings a hoping pass behind his back in field. Taken, though, by the Lions, and that's the end of the Australian advantage. Boy, that was just a bit too big from Harry Potter to Max Jorgensen's wing. Jorgensen did well to reel it in, but his momentum was going over the touchline, so he had to chuck it in field.
Yeah, almost a great cross kick by Harry Potter, and Max Jorgensen showing his athleticism there. And as you say, Q, if that ball had have gone to hand, it would have been a freakish try. But the Wallabies now, they're starting to get a bit of speed into the game. They're starting to expose the Lions around the breakdown, and we've seen some ill discipline from the Lions as well. And I sort of feel, and I felt leading into this test match, if the Wallabies are going to make a dent in the Lions, they've got to try and play a faster up-tempo game.
Nick Champion to Crepini's done, Zano?
Yeah, Crepini's off, and we see Tizana coming on. Can I say this? There's some electricity out there for the Lions as well. The Filipino-born Englishman and Marcus Smith is out there, and he can play.
Line out, 5 metres out for the Australians, and they keep it above the ground. Maul is now only 2 metres out for the Australians. They trail the test 24-5. They've had the better of the last 10 minutes. Can they get some points to show for it? Frost infield to the right. Can't get over on the pick and drive. McWright tries as well. Fraser McWright's pushed back by the red wall of defence. Aussie ball 3 metres from the Lions line. Donaldson reaching in there. They decide to go blindside, no way through. Only 3 metres in from touch on the left, a couple of metres out. Frost once again tries to bore his way forward. The Australians are 2 metres out. Red wall holding. Aussies 10 in from touch on the left. Almost Tizano going through on his first touch of the game. McWright's close. McWright picks up and tries to go through, but there are men in red there holding him up right on the goal line at the Caxton Street end. Australia through Tizano. He's got there. Try to Australia. Game on at Lang Park. The physical presence of the Wallaby bench playing its hand in this test match. And after pick and drive and pick and drive and pick and drive, eventually the Aussies go over. It's 24-10 to the Lions with a conversion attempt for the Wallabies to come.
And Q, Carlo Tizano scored so many tries for the Force this year, and we saw his work rate. He carried from that breakdown. I think it was Fraser McWright who carried, then Tizano reloaded very quickly, picked and drove again, and showed great strength to score through the tackle of 3 Lions players, and that's a much-needed try for the Wallabies. If they can hit back again, it's game on.
Donaldson to try and convert. 14 metres in from touch on the left. 22 metres out. Strikes it well with his right boot. Raises the flags. So it's Lions 24, Wallabies 12. 24-12 in favour of the British and Irish Lions. And what's happened in the last 10 or 15 minutes, Phil, for the Australians to finally feel like they've got a bit of traction in this test? There's about 11 minutes to play.
I just feel, Q, that they've added speed to the game rather than static one-hour carries and a kicking game. They've kept the ball in hand. They've used short sides really effectively, and they've exposed the Lions. And as I say, I think that's the formula moving forward.
13 tries and 11 games in Super Rugby this year for Carlo Cesano. What an amazing effort by him in green and gold, his second try for the Wallabies. Bring it on, Q. 12 points down, and now we're going to see Callaway coming in and Ikitau going off.
Thanks, Zano. So the bench has been emptied for the Wallabies and Joe Schmidt. Restart right to the 22, taken by Frost of Australia, and he takes the ball to ground. Now Donaldson passes to the left through the hands of Wright. On to Jorgensen, now to Callaway, and he's taken just beyond the 22. McDermott there, passes back one man infield. The try scorer Tizano can't get through. It's a red ball, it's a gold ball, 25 from the Wallabies line. And the touring fans want to get behind their men. McDermott with the box kick downfield. Comes down on halfway. Play on, knock on Australia, I fancy. Is it? Knocked on by the Aussies into the hands of the red. It's Stewart cleaning up for the Lions. Gibson Park now passes left field through Conan. Quick hands. Burns' pass was a little suspect. Earl takes it forward. Referee lets it go. Earl's tackle. Gibson Park tries a little kick in behind the line. Took a ricochet into the hands of Stewart. The Lions have got it. 25 metres out. Now to the left. Byrne through Arkey. On to Smith to the edge for Freeman. Tommy Freeman loses the ball forward.
Well,
good defence from the Australians.
What about that, Phil? Marcus Smith, I talked about how quick he is. He hasn't got the sleight of hand of Finn Russell, but he's just absolutely electric around the ball, and he's really brought a new energy to these men in red.
Yeah, he's added pace already, and looked like there was a forward pass here in the midfield off. Just, I think it was, well, I couldn't see who threw it, but it definitely looked like a forward pass. But there's real urgency now to the Wallaby game, more speed in defence. There's more line speed. They're putting the Lions under a lot more pressure, and it's positive signs. As I say, the Lions were so dominant for the first 55, 60 minutes of the game, but the Wallabies have had a really good last 15 minutes and exposed some real kinks in the men in red.
And the official attendance has been posted at 52,229. 52,229. An amazing scene at this once-in-a-12-year test match in Brisbane. Australia trailing it though, 24-12. Scrum on their own 22. Aussies win it. Pass to centre field. Suali'i's pass is knocked on by Callaway and picked up by Jones of the Lions. He's tackled. That was loose from the Aussies. Men in red have got it centre field. 22 from Australia's line. They score here. They'll go to Melbourne 1-0 ahead. Itoje to the left through the hands of Smith. Out to the edge, but again the Wallaby Gold get across to make the tackle. Conan receives near the wing. Suali'i makes the tackle. Lions are 20 out in the left. Infield comes Gibson Park. He steps through a tackle, gains a couple of metres before being stopped. 5 in from touch on the left, 15 out. Byrne with a pick and drive. McDermott there to make the tackle. The Lions close to touch out in the left, only 7 metres out. Boring crash ball line from Stewart, gains a metre or two. Now to Lowe. Was that an obstruction line? No, says the referee. Tackle made anyway. Key's picked up. He now evades the tackle before being stopped, only 5 metres out. Advantage Lions looking to seal this first test in Brisbane. Gibson Park to Itoje. That's a loose hand from the captain, but they were playing under advantage anyway.
Oh, I think Hooper's unlucky, Phil. I thought he won that ball.
Yeah, the referee, Ben O'Keefe, saying that Hooper went past the ball and placed one hand on the ground before then having his go at it. So, yeah, it's one of those fine line decisions. And
Wallabies must down the line.
Going for goal too.
Even the Wallabies, when they ran the ball there, Zano, were able to create space. It was just an ineffective pass by Suwali to Andrew Callaway, just down at around his knees, and unfortunately Callaway was unable to hold it, and then Lions were hard on the attack.
I'll let you know when there's 20.
So Marcus Smith setting things up for a point-blank penalty goal attempt straight in front. So this goes over. It's 27-12, and now time is on the fly as well. Almost 74 minutes elapsed in the test match.
He could throw it over, Q. I've already written down in my book.
You never know with live sports, Zane, but I'm with you. He kicks it. Marcus Smith with the penalty goal. 74 minutes into the test match. It's the British and Irish Lions 27, leading Australia 12. Quentin Hull, Phil Mooney and Zane Bojack with you. If you are just tuning in from tonight's NRL, a reminder, Manly Warringah with a dramatic victory over Melbourne, 18 points to 16. Earlier, Canterbury Bankstown late trying to beat the Dragons 20 to 18, and Canberra beat Para 40 to 16. We'll go through all of those wraps as usual, just a little bit later with a chance to bring you this first of 3 test matches from Lang Park. Australia with the restart, it's outside the 22. Lions have got possession. It's at the deck. Marcus Smith is there to put up a very shallow kick in behind the breakdown. Bobbles off hands, ends up in the red hand. It was a Wallaby knock on anyway. Conan's got it. Conan's tackled. Lions have got the ball. 10 from halfway out on the left. One man infield for Earl. Put down. Still 10 inside Wallaby Lions territory. Slow ball for Marcus Smith at the back. Sorry, that's Alex Mitchell at the back. Kicks it down, and it's taken by Wright. 10 inside his own half. Gives the pass to Wilson. Wilson decides to kick downfield. It's gone over the touchline. It was nowhere near the flying Kellaway. Over the touchline, Lions line out. Basically on their 22. 27 to 12 the scoreline. 5 minutes left in the test match, Phil Mooney.
Yeah, Tom Wright did exceptionally well to field that ball there, and Harry Wilson, nice little juggle, pass down at his ankles, but once again, 4 minutes to go. I'm not quite sure why they're not keeping that in hand. And
they had a 4-on-3, Phil.
Well,
that's what I don't understand. They put the ball on the foot again.
This is outside, guys.
Line out for the Lions. Kelleher throws in. Captain Itoje takes down. Gives it to Mitchell. Pass to centre field. And the ball taken to deck just outside of the Lions 22. Alex Mitchell with the kick downfield. It's a high ball coming down on halfway. Ricochets off the chest of Potter backwards and knocked on by Archie. Picked up by right of Australia. Play on. Wright lays it back for McDermott. 45 from the Lions line to the right. Donaldson sweeps a pass to the edge for Jorgensen. A little step, Jorgensen then passes infield to Kellaway. Kellaway's put down 30 metres out. 10 in from touch on the right. McDermott passes infield to Donaldson. The Wallaby shifted to midfield. Pass is knocked forward by Itoje, and he jumps on it, and that takes away Australia's momentum. Maro Itoje there knocking on in a legitimate attempt to try and gather the ball. If he had done it in an illegitimate way or a deliberate way, that's a sin-binning offence, but not the case according to referee Ben O'Keefe.
Yeah, and the Wallabies once again just getting let down with their catch and pass, and Harry Potter threw that pass there, and Maro Itoje definitely knocking the ball down, and Ben O'Keefe calling in the act of making the tackle. So scrum on the halfway centre field. We're probably only got a couple more attacks left for the Wallabies, so really important that they finish this test match positively and can try and create some space.
3 minutes left, and that's why that 3 points was so important, Phil. It took it out to 14 the margin. Sorry, 15 the margin. McDermott to the right for Donaldson on halfway. Back to McDermott wrapping to that side. He pushes away from Jones before being tackled. 5 in from touch on the right and 30 metres out. One man infield. But no great gain on the run there as McDermott's back in behind again. Passes through the hands of Bell to centre field. Kellaway pops it up for Suoli'i to Donaldson to the edge for McWright over the 22. Gives it to the edge for Potter. Steps a tackle or two, Harry Potter, before being stopped only 6 metres out. Quick ball for McDermott. Pops it up. Pollard bores his way forward. Taken down by Stewart of the Lions. Now Gus Bell, one man infield. Dragged down only 4 metres out. McDermott gives it on to Tizano. Tizano stopped. McDermott goes himself. Little Tate's done it. Another scrum-based scoot from the local lad, Tate McDermott. It's a try to the Wallabies. Perhaps too little, too late. But McDermott scores. Conversion to come, and Donaldson, as you'd expect, very quick to call for the kicking tee. Place it just to the left of the uprights. And he wants to kick the 2. He does kick the 2. It's 27 to 19 in favour of the Lions with about 100 seconds left in the test, if that.
Yeah, and that's the great skill and threat that Tate McDermott poses. And, I sort of feel like the game has certainly gone to a different level with him out there with the speed. And, one of the questions that I'm sure Joe Schmidt and his staff will be looking at during the week is how can we start and play with this pace for more sustained periods of time. And I suspect that Tate McDermott will certainly be looked at very closely to start the second test.
And let's be honest, there was the thought that, well, the Lions were a hot favourite coming in. Could the Wallabies at least, show that they're worthy of the challenge? Well, they certainly have in this second half. Kick goes inside the 22 from the Lions. It's taken to deck by Wilson. Now the Aussies will try and shift it, trying to create a miracle. Right, he's tackled by Archie inside the 22. McDermott picks up at the back. Australia's ball. He has another snipe quickly put down by the tackle of Stewart. Ball still inside the Australian 22. Donaldson reaching forward for the Wallabies. Passes blind side. Given it to Zano, who's driven into the deck. Slow ball for Australia, still inside their 22. Inside the final minute of the test match now. A loose pass goes out to the right edge. Wilson picks up, gives it on to Jorgensen, but he's only 10 from his own line as he gathers that. Jorgensen's tackled, lays it out the back.
Step here, Murray.
McDermott foraging for the ball. The Aussies keep it in hand, but the hooter is imminent in Brisbane. And the Red Sea will move to Melbourne with one game advantage as McWright, on a sweeping left side move, tried to create something. His pass is loose to the edge. And that looks like it's the last movement of the test match. There is a line out for the Lions. I fancy they'll try and take it.
Line out.
Yep, 6 metres out. And why not? Oh, watch out here. Listen to the voices. There are 35,000 of them, that's a guess. They're going to try and hoot them over on the rolling ball here. Last play of the test match. Lions have won it. They lead 27-19. What's the final score line? Oh, it's stolen by the Aussies, so they don't get a chance. Great work from Frost. So, no rolling ball. Donaldson's got the ball on his own goal line. Australia, Wilson's had enough. He kicks it dead. End of test. And the British and Irish Lions go to the MCG, having maintained their perfect record in Brisbane over Australia in Test rugby. The Lions win it 27 points to 19. It was 3 tries apiece in the end. For the Lions, Tui Pilatu, Curry and Sheehan scoring the tries, but a couple of penalty goals as well. Finn Russell ended up kicking 3 conversions and a penalty goal. Marcus Smith kicking a penalty goal as well for the Lions. While for the Australians, Jorgensen, Tazano and McDermott scored the tries. Liner missed his 1 conversion. Donaldson kicked his 2 from 2. Lions 17-5 at halftime. Win the test 27-19. Stay close. We'll get Zane Bojak's interviews from ground level. We'll get Phil Mooney's assessment. And as well, we'll do our regular Saturday night NRL wrap-up with the victories to Canberra, Canterbury, Bankstown and Manly, Warringah earlier today. Well, Phil Mooney, the Lions remain perfect in Brisbane, and we go to Melbourne with the Red Army, 1 up.
Yeah, for the first 55, 60 minutes of the test match, Q, it looked like it was going to be a complete shutout. They were so dominant, the Lions. They pinched a lot of ball of the Wallabies at the line out. Their contact work was exceptional. Then around the 55th, 60th minute, the Wallabies, with the introduction of some fresh legs on the bench, they played the game at a greater pace, and they certainly exposed the British Lions in some areas of the game. I sort of feel like if the Wallabies want to make an impact in the second and third test, need to play more ball in hand. Some of the kicking tonight was pretty average. Hopefully for the Wallabies, if Will Skelton and Rob Valentini become available, there's a couple of big bodies that they certainly missed out there with the hard carry. So, Yeah, I sort of feel that if you're a Wallaby supporter, the last 20, 25 minutes of the Test match showed that, the British and Irish Lions certainly aren't infallible, and Wallabies need to be better with a lot of the execution, but all is not lost.
27-19, that final scoreline. And for those just joining us, the size and the sheer class of the Lions was so apparent in the first half. And when Dan Sheehan scored a try just in the opening phases of the second half to take it out to 24-5, it looked like it could have blown out badly for the locals. But all power to the men in gold. I think out basically, from the 50-minute mark onward, I think the Wallabies probably won at least the last 20, 25 minutes of the Test match. But they were well outplayed for the majority of the first hour. And the reactions will be interesting to hear from ground level.
Yeah, and we spoke about it before the game, Q, as well. That's the Wallabies, the home team. Obviously, their second match, having only played Fiji the previous week. The Lions have now played 6 matches. So you would think that hopefully the last 20, 25 minutes of the Wallabies' performance is an example of what they can do, with another week together, moving to Melbourne. And as I say, without, false hope, the Lions certainly are a dominant side. There are kinks that the Wallabies can look to exploit.
So what didn't work in the first 60 that worked at the back end of the game for Australia?
Yeah, well, I said it during the game. I sort of felt their attack was really static. It was one out running. The Lions were able to slow down the Wallabies' ball, and Tom Lynagh was put under a lot of pressure. And as a result, we saw kicking from either from Jake Gordon or from Tom Lynagh. It was rushed. It wasn't accurate. When we then saw Tate McDermott and Tom Hooper and Billy Pollard come into the game, those fresh legs, they gave more speed. And Tate McDermott, we know he's such a threat. Exhibit A was the try that he scored. And, I just sort of feel like that's the way the Wallabies have to move forward if they are to pose a threat in Test number 2 and Test number 3.
So the Australians just taking a moment to gather their thoughts in a group, and now they break, and I'm sure that Zane won't be too far away from bringing us an interview. So 27-19, the final scoreline. Tui Pelotu, Curry and Sheehan, the try scorers. So we got Scotland, England and Ireland scoring tries for the Lions, and as mentioned, Finn Russell kicked all 3 conversions. He kicked a penalty goal early as well in the first minute of the game. And then that Marcus Smith penalty goal late completes the 27 points for the Lions. Jorgensen, Tizano and McDermott, the try scorers for the Australians. Lynagh missed his 1 conversion attempt. Donaldson kicked both of his.
Yeah, and Q, I sort of feel I spoke about the line out, being a little bit stuttery, but the Wallaby scrum was good. They were able to secure a couple of penalties from the scrum. They had the Lions under pressure. So that's a positive. Some of the breakdown work was pretty good. They were able to, Fraser McWright was able to secure a couple of turnovers, and when they were physical and able to just make the Lions throw in an extra body to try and secure the ball, things certainly changed. So, yeah, as I say, it's Test match rugby against really good sides, and the British and Irish Lions are a really good side. The ability to execute all your catch pass, make them stick and get the detail right. The Wallabies will be better next week.
What did you pick up from Andy Farrell's team? Hold on, I'm just trying to be just having a look at Zane at ground level here. See, hopefully you can. It's a bit different these days. The British and Irish Lions, not only do they bring thousands of touring supporters, they give a big media contingent that sometimes can make it a bit tough to get a chat. I'm hanging with you there, Zane. I hope you can get some type of reaction.
Yeah, they're obviously a quality side. So much experience in their starting team and off the bench. And when we talk about debutants for the British and Irish Lions, some of them have got over 50 caps. So we're not talking inexperienced rugby players there. What a great experience for, the young Wallaby side to play against such high-quality opposition. And you only get better and learn when you do play against those high-quality sides. And, I think Andy Farrell would be extremely happy with the performance of his team. As we said, the first 55 minutes particularly, it was a shutout. The Wallabies weren't able to get any forward momentum in attack, and the Lions dominated defensively. And some of their ball carries, they presented Finn Russell and Sione Tuipulotu with a lot of front foot ball, and when you've got players of that quality able to play on the front foot, it poses a lot of questions to the defensive side.
Well, the likes of Rob Valentini hopefully available for next week. That's probably one of the questions. If Valentini is fit, does the captain keep his spot in the team, Harry Wilson?
Well, I think the obvious ones, as I say, Will Skelton and Rob Valentini, they're big men, they're physical.
Sorry, Phil, I've seen Zano. He's finally been able to grab some talent down at ground level and an Australian try scorer. Well done, Zano.
Yeah, I got a try scorer, Danny, and we're so proud of him. He came on and made an immediate impact. Tate McDermott, I know it wasn't the result you wanted, but how critical was it that the Wallabies fought back in the second half and laid down a foundation stone for the MCG?
Yeah, like you said, obviously really disappointed with the result. But proud of the fight there. There was a time there where we probably would have gone away in the past, and we stayed in it, and we got a hell of a lot of work to do because, as we know, the series is on the line at the MCG next week, and it's going to be a bloody huge fixture. So we've got to lick our wounds, we've got to lick them quick, and then we've got to get back on the horse and show some more fight and a bit more polish next week.
Look, I know there was some contentious decisions out there. What was the decision made by, or what was the thoughts of the Wallabies, given that, you had the Swali try overturned and there was no yellow card just prior to half-time on Tommy Liner's tackle? There were some tough decisions out there on you guys. Yeah, but that's footy, mate. Sometimes the rub of the green's going to go against you, and we got to live with that. So we put ourselves in those positions, and at the end of the day, if you're relying on the ref to make the right or wrong call, you're never going to win big games of footy, and we've got to make sure we tidy up our own game before we look at blaming other people. How proud are you, the front row for the Wallabies? They're not young, Alan Alatawa and also James Slipper, but they did the job in the scrum. Perhaps maybe the set piece and the line out, not really what you're looking for tonight?
I mean, particularly on the scrum, there's a reason that those fellas have played so many games for Australia, and they're world class, So we're lucky to have them on our side, but like you said, we need more blokes to go with them. We go with them. We get a couple more around the ball. We win those little battles. It goes a long way into getting a result. So we've got to be better. Any chance of you starting game 2? Would you like to? Are you happy being a finisher? I'm just happy to be in the team, mate. I want to do my role tonight. My role is start energy. And whatever my role is next week, I'll do my best to perform it for the team. Well, congratulations on your performance and getting a 5-pointer. Best of luck next week in front of a huge crowd in Melbourne. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it.
Well done, Zane. Zane Bojak with Tate McDermott. Now, I know that they were lining up Rob Lowe for you. Yep. Oh, sorry, Rob Lowe. I knew I'd do that at one point. James Lowe. So hopefully Zano can now catch up with the Irish winger, who's just having a wander down the western touchline. Good on you, Zane. Yep. Zane with James Lowe, the British and Irish Lions winger. Oh, he's a star too. He's got a good left boot on him. James, tell us, mate, James Lowe, what was it like out there in front of this huge crowd here in Brisbane?
Yeah, it was awesome. I think both teams are going to be disappointed in a few aspects of the game. It was a funny one, especially their second half. Felt like we didn't have the ball for it. You can argue both ways that, people should have been sent off. You could have argued both ways that there should have been a try both ends, with both sides getting held up. But sure, look, it's the way the cookie crumbles, and we're happy to come away with a win and hopefully go into next week with a bit of momentum.
Yeah, what's it like for you guys? Because you're a star player, and we know how good you are on the wing, but you've got, like, Duan van der Merwe, you've got Mac Hansen. These guys are really nipping at your heels to try and take your spot.
You said it. Like, there's world-class wingers all throughout. I mean, that's what the Lions is. It's the best of the best in the Northern Hemisphere. So you have to perform. You don't perform, there's someone sitting behind you who's played, 50-odd test matches who wants to get their opportunity. So I guess really it's up to you to make sure you play to the best of your abilities, you do what's asked of you, and, tonight I hope Faz thinks I did, yeah.
One of 11 Irishmen in the side. What's it like having Andy Farrell as the Lions coach? Is that comfortable for you guys that are used to wearing, the emerald green?
Yeah, I think there's a sense of familiarity, like you said there, but I mean, it's all hands on deck. There's, I guess, a little bit of lingo and stuff that we all understand, and I guess you can say we've played together, a fair few of us, but I mean, you look at that 10, 12, 13, they're all Scottish. We got Tommy on the wing who's English. There's a bit of a cauldron of different ethnicities, as you could say, but I think we're gelling at the right time. Test match footy is completely different. It's pressure footy. It's about putting your team on the front foot and winning small moments. I think we won enough small moments to get the win there, yeah.
And look, I've got to be honest with you, your flankers were absolutely outstanding tonight. They got so much ball at the breakdown. How good is it for someone in the back line to just keep winning the ball back all the time?
I mean, you do enough homework and you see enough shapes, and you can you grow a bit of confidence. And when you see your 6, 7, and 8 flying off the line and shutting down what's a good strength of theirs. I mean, you look at that line out, that overthrow, where we're queuing Tom up all week for that, and as soon as we saw the winger creeping, Tom knew the cues, picked it off, and we ended up, I think, scoring from it. And imagine starting the second half with 7 points like that. You'd take it, you'd bite anyone's hand off it. So we know there's more to come. We know there's a few more tricks up Joe's sleeve. So hopefully we can stay on the front foot and get another result next week.
Just finally, we saw the impact of the finishes from the Wallabies in that second half. They're probably going to change their lineup, you would think. Do you feel like this second test is where it's really going to be at between you two sides?
I mean, if you look at how State of Origin went this year, New South Wales came out with a hiss and a roar. That second match in Perth, it was tiptoey, and Queensland ended up getting over. And then in the third test, I think Queensland were deserved winners. We don't want that. We don't want it to be like that. We need to stay on the front foot.
I'll tell you what, there's a lot of red shirts. They're very proud of you. They were great in the crowd.
Oh, it's awesome. It's awesome to see. Hopefully they turn up in Melbourne. I think there's over 100,000 come to the MCG. Let's go.
Look, congratulations on the win. Well done on your performance, and enjoy the MCG. It's going to be special.
Thank you very much. Cheers. Have a good evening.
From the Waikato to the Emerald Isle to the red of the British and Irish Lions. It almost sounded like we were doing the wrap-up of a Bledisloe Cup Test match there. That's the Kiwi-born James Lowe, who played a number of seasons for the Chiefs in Super Rugby before heading to Ireland and qualifying for Ireland on residency grounds. And the blend there, wasn't it apparent when he started to refer to State of Origin in the post-game interview? I don't think too many rugby players out of the Northern Hemisphere would speak a little bit about our rugby league showcase, but it just shows you that he knows his audience.
Yeah,
from just across the Tasman originally, and here he is playing for the Lions.
Absolutely, and he was very good tonight, James Lowe, and he speaks about familiarity with the Irish contingent and Andy Farrell. Well, he also mentioned there that they'd certainly done their homework. Joe Schmidt, obviously a long-time Irish coach as well, and when they saw a Wallaby winger just slightly change position, they saw the overthrow coming. The Lions were able to... Tom Curry was able to read it perfectly, secure the turnover, and a few phases later, Dan Sheehan scored in the corner, which was their only try of the second half. So, great analysis by the British and Irish Lions there.
An extended Saturday night on this ABC Sports special event. Quentin Hull and Phil Mooney wrapping up the British and Irish Lions victory over the Wallabies. They go to Melbourne with a 1-0 series lead, 27 points to 19, the final score here. But have no fear. We're going to do the regular Saturday NRL wrap-up. It's just sort of been time-shifted by about half an hour. If you've got a thought, 0467 920 222.